This is a HeadGum podcast.
This week on the program, break out your Harvey Danger CDs and tighten up that 90s bowl cut, because today we're talking about disturbing behavior. I'm Andrew Jupin.
A dangerously horny Steven Sadak.
Eric Siska.
Flagpole Sitta.
And I'm Angelica Jade Bastién, bitches.
Woo! And we hate movies. Welcome to the fine program. Thank you for tuning in. As always, that's right. We are talking about 1998's Disturbing Behavior, directed by X-Files legend David Nutter. And here to join us, back to the program, our good friend, Vulture film critic and all-around kick-ass person, Angelica Jade Bastién. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be back. I don't think the audience is ready for the bitch to be back. And she's off her leash. Anyway. I've lost my mind.
Well,
That's scary. Oh, no. Chain her up again. She's a little off.
This episode was often promised. This is your return, disturbing behavior. You wanted it. You wanted this.
Which is like, why the fuck? I knew you would bring that up, that I was the one that was like, yeah, let's do disturbing behavior. And
it's fucked up,
I can
Steve.
explain. I watched this movie so many times in my youth as a young little girl. And I didn't remember anything about it except for two things: the ending and James Marsden's cheekbones, jawline.
Oh, you can't forget those.
Pretty nice.
They have them all covered up in this movie, but I'm like, I know there's a fine ass body under that.
Oh yeah. You start shedding layers towards the end. Towards the end, you start seeing a little bit more, but not as much as you would like.
It must have been hard to be a hunk in the 90s because you still it was great for me in the 90s because everyone's wearing like fucking Chairman Mao-esque kind of outfits, but
everybody's doing that, Steve.
Yes.
Baggier clothing is what you're saying.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, no, the Jinko jeans era was the era to be Steve Sadak.
Chairman Mao believed in comfort first.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm just imagining Mao in like FUBU too, like all the new fashions that you've got out there. And Angelica, I assumed you just had like an absolutely atomic Nick Stahl take. I didn't know
I have
what else
a lot of
been.
Nick Stahl thoughts. We will get into that.
Are they missing right now, just like he was for a fashion?
I have a soft
right?
spot
Did he disappear
for him.
or something?
Yeah, he seems like he dealt with a lot. I'm just
sure.
Sure.
But I will say this: the presence of
it's okay to be missing. That's all.
It is okay to be missing.
The presence of Nick Stahl signals to you, like immediately, when this movie was made.
Oh,
you don't need to look at the clothes. You don't need to listen to the music on the soundtrack. You just need to see that dude's name in the credits of a major motion picture, and you know what's up.
It was a 10-year gap. It was 95 to 2005. That was Nick Stahl was allowed to be in your movie.
That was his era. But he did give us something. Okay, not this movie. No. This movie
Carnival.
Carnival, baby.
Hell yeah.
I fucking love that show. I need to do a rewatch. I haven't watched it like all the way through in a long time, but I watched it while it was airing. This is so dating myself because like anyone under the age of anything is probably like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Andrew and Steve were watching it while it was airing.
Oh,
and I remember
we watched it.
Strolling into the dorm room one day, and they're just like, Carnival. And I just left.
You turned around like Grandpa Simpson at the cat house.
I love that little hat.
2 seasons, great cliffhangery ending that never will be resolved.
Nope.
Nick Stahl, I saw him outside. Speaking of him being missing, it felt like it was right after.
You thought you found him?
Yes, kind of. My sister had a kid. I walked out of Babies R Us with a gift, and I saw Nick Stahl on 14th Street. I was like, holy shit, is that? am I the first one to see him?
Are you sure it was him or just another guy with a weird looking head?
Yeah, it could have been.
He does have a very weird shaped head. There's like a lot of things visually happening in this movie, like with how people are presenting themselves that
Not
like
great.
fucking cracked me up. But I will say this, there is not much of a movie here. By the end of it, I was like, well, I haven't seen them in a while, so we'll talk a lot of shit about other things at least.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
catching up. Couple buds catching up.
Yeah, exactly.
Just some buds.
We should say that the reason it's barely a movie and feels so like disjointed and fucking chunky and terrible is because this was an MGM chop job. This movie had like 30 minutes ripped out of it after like 5 disastrous test screenings. They kicked the editor out and brought like the studio's editor in to try to fix it. Real disaster town with this shit.
Which
Not
is
good.
fine, but I mean, it couldn't have been that good. Let's just be
No.
It
completely
couldn't
honest
have been
with
that
each
good,
other.
but maybe there would have been something else. Throughout the entire movie, I was like, there has to be more to this shit, right? Like,
Yeah.
like there's more to this, right? No, this is it. Oh, this is what y'all came up with. Oh, that's cute. Speaking of, what's cute is this little buddy
There
from
you go.
Hopewell
Yeah.
that I'm about
This little
to.
beer you have.
Yeah.
It's literally called, y'all, Little Buddy, a little lager by Hopewell. Hopewell is a great
Yeah.
brewery in Chicago,
Nice.
which James Marsden's character is from. Why did I like
There's the
every time
connection.
Chicago was
Yeah.
bitching? I was like, ew, ooh, yes, bitch, in my apartment. And I
Well,
was
you're
like,
just hoping to run into James Marsden in Chicago. Like,
okay,
oh,
let's
hi.
Let's
Yeah.
talk
Mhm.
about this for a second. Let me tell y'all. There are no man who looks like James Marsden who lives in Chicago and is from Chicago. The white men here, I do not know what happened to them, their sense of style and sense of self and looks, but it is aggressively mid. And I can testify to that as someone who has lived in Chicago now. This year marks 15 years.
Wow.
15
Look at that.
So
years.
if there was a guy that looked like James Marsden in Chicago, you'd like him to star in The Box, right?
As in my box, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
think-
James Marsden, let me tell you, he's not going to listen to this, but
Sure.
thankfully.
He might.
Hey, maybe.
Maybe, he has a lot. Oh, I was just about to say he has a lot of time on his hands. Ooh, that was mean. Let me stop.
He's not incorrect.
I have nothing but goodwill towards James Marsden.
I do too. He's
Oh, yeah.
very, very, very hot. And I
Yes.
wrote one of my favorite acting essays on the fact that I think he's a great actor who just has like a really not interesting career.
Yeah.
Because he's super talented. He can dance, he can sing, he can look very, very hot. Very-
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
no, I'm serious. I saw a picture of his son who I think is getting into modeling or acting or whatever. And I'm like, man, that must really suck for your father to look like that because like you're like fine looking, but like
Yeah.
he's like fine.
Mhm.
Because white men don't be looking like that these days. You know what I
No.
mean? Back,
No.
I don't know what happened. What recipes were lost, but
Well,
where are the Paul Newmans?
I can
They're
feel
nowhere.
this actually. As you said, they're not being made in Chicago anymore. Men as attractive as James Marsden, they are born orc-like from the ground. There are fields in England and Canada where they are pulled out of the ground.
harvested.
Now, these fields are now depleted, of course. I mean, it's been years and years and years we've been birthing the hot
Sure.
white men from Canada
And
and from
fracking ain't
England.
helping,
No,
No, it's
totally.
not.
Climate
Supply
change
chain
really
issues.
fucked it up.
all that goes into it. I mean, we're chopping down trees, and those are the lifeblood of hot white men who live in the ground for like, I believe, 9 months.
I'm
just
curious
like
how long
normal.
this is going to go.
Yeah, I was like, where is this going? Speaking of where is this going, I'm going to the moon.
There you
go.
To the moon.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to posit that I think the problem with why James Marsden isn't in
Good
you know,
movies?
quote unquote better movies, is because he is a very talented character actor that's too hot to be a character actor.
Sure.
Yeah,
You know what
can
I mean?
Yeah, let's get into that because I think we're in a really weird spot in American film. I mean, I'm always saying this, but it's like we don't really have lanes for character actors the way we used to.
No way.
In a lot of ways, even television, because like stars have moved over to there, like it's just there's no oxygen for the character actor who can work in like these great mid-budget musicals, comedies, rom-coms. If romantic comedies were still, a force, James Marsden would be cleaning up because he's fine. He's charming. He's fine. He looks like he can fuck. He's fine. Like, I flirted with him when I interviewed him a few years ago. Many years ago. And I think it was a mutual flirtation, to be honest. Because
now we're talking.
He was like, "Oh, I read the essay you wrote about me," and I was like, "Oh my God, thank you, James."
See, he's gonna listen to this.
Yeah, James. James, if you're listening, if you're single, I don't care about being a stepmom. Let's do this.
If you're listening, X-Men 2, X-Men United, really good. You're underutilized in those films, dude, FYI.
He's not a bad Cyclops. They just don't know what to do with Cyclops.
They didn't care.
And they didn't care.
After that first movie, they quickly realized it was the Hugh Jackman show.
Yes.
With that trilogy or whatever. And that dude just got thrown to the back seat. And like,
poor guy.
Yeah, I always thought he was a good Scott Summers. He's, I'm going to list it all again. He's fine. He's very talented. He's fine again. He's funny. He's very funny.
He's very funny.
Comedian.
Very light on his feet in terms of like, I don't know. He's also very engaged when you talk to him. Some actors just do not give a fuck. But I guess he knew I liked him, so he was like, "Let me give this girl some flirtation." I don't know.
What were you talking to him for? Like, was it for a specific film?
Westworld. It was like second season of Westworld. I'm pretty sure because that's like what my piece was pegged to, and I'm pretty sure that that's what the interview was like linked to as well. It's funny you mentioning that the director of Disturbing Behavior is a big X-Files dude. I want to hear more about that. Obviously, for good reasons. Look who is on my shoulder.
That's just I couldn't figure.
Mulder.
Oh, that's really awesome.
For the listener, Angelica has Fox Mulder and Dana Scully pictures behind her.
Portraits.
I was going to say paintings, but
it's really, really good posters by this artist I dig that I got at Pitchfork several years ago, and it's just like these.
They look cool.
It's like portraiture, and like on the back of it, or below each picture, it's like one is a poster of just Mulder looking out with them dead eyes, and Miss Scully giving the world everything you need, everything you want, everything that can be gotten, because hello, she's a boss ass bitch. But it says, "Trust me, Scully," on the bottom of his poster. And then on the bottom of her poster, it's Mulder. It's me. And it's like, damn, he knows. He knows. He knows who it is.
You're the only one calling that cell phone.
Yeah.
Can we start with I just want to start with these credits. I'm sorry.
Oh,
the
sure.
worst
They're
credits I've
terrible.
ever seen in my entire goddamn life.
I don't know what the fuck anyone was thinking with these opening
What is
titles.
it supposed to be? It looks like the inside of your eyelid, like
Yeah,
when you're
that's what
like
it's supposed to
staring at
be.
the sun. Is that really what it's supposed to be?
because it's supposed to be like the injection going into the eye when the kids get the microchip.
Oh,
or
Wow,
whatever.
that's
Also,
so deep.
Things are going to come into focus, don't you understand, throughout the 86-minute runtime.
Like directed by David Nutter.
I mean, that one's really bad, Chris, because, like, I don't know, with most stories, things come into focus by the end. You know what I mean? That's not a good one.
But it's like very low key, like DVD menu, like and then bam every 5 minutes, and it's like without any rhyme or reason. That it's like, I don't know, dude. That's just a fucking assistant editor. What are we talking about?
The font of the Disturbing Behavior title specifically, with the lights behind it, I'm like, are we going to the moon? Like, what is happening here?
It looks fake. It looks like a fake movie is about to be shown to me, which it kind of is.
It is.
The noise was reminding me of a knockoff Texas Chainsaw.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But what this sounds like, though, is when motherfuckers would buzz in on like not Whose Line Is It Anyway? Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like someone's buzzing in on a game show every fucking time, and they are making this noise throughout the movie because it's the noise that happens whenever they get horned up and like their little Terminator eye goes off or whatever the fuck. It's so dumb.
Can I just say, I had a weird fear watching the credits because I was like, oh God, is this going to be the second movie I've seen this week that has some weird fetus shit? Is this going to be some fetus shit? Because I saw Blonde 2 days ago.
Oh boy. And your head's still on your shoulders, so that's kind of a good sign.
They start when she's a fetus, and we see
there's
her grow
a talking
into
fetus
Marilyn.
in Blonde.
There's a talking fetus. Wow.
Is it voiced by Bruce Willis?
It should be. And so I was like having flashbacks. I was like, do I have PTSD from this movie? I'm afraid a fetus is going to start talking at the beginning of these credits. What's happening?
No,
God.
it just, It's just a dude getting sexy with a girl in a car here, right?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
kinda
Very
a
sexy.
Little lookout
Very
part.
Quintessential teenage activity, making out and murder.
Because she wants to fool around and he wants to hold on to his fluids, like Jordan Peterson over here.
Yeah, let's that dialogue. I was screaming at some of the dialogue in this movie, but especially this scene because she's like, "What's your deal?" And he's like, "I have my game, and I need to keep my fluids." And I was like, "Wait, what?" Wait. I rewound it. I was, well, sort of. I hit. Yeah, I rewound it. Sort of.
That is it's a jog back and put the subtitles on. Like,
yeah, I was like,
say fluids.
I was like,
because the stream,
let me write this down.
If he keeps all the cum in him, the stream of those little sperms going forward helps propel you a little bit while you're running.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
That's right. Yeah. That's how it works.
And then he's like, "Why'd you do that to your body?" And it's like, let's get out of the car at that point because she got a tattoo. And he's like, "Why would you do that to your body?"
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, that's self-mutilation. And then she's like, self-mutilate this fluid boy. And she starts sucking him off. And I was like,
that'll show you.
Hang on, lady.
All right. You know what? As a punishment for demeaning me, I'm going to give you a blowjob, mister.
Yeah.
Look out.
I'm like, that's not how, what? This is giving men all the wrong ideas of how life works.
And I'll tell you right now, a creepy ass song to be like parked to, about to get fucking sucked off, is Flies Got You, parentheses, Where I Want You. Good Lord.
Yeah.
That was
great song, not for making out.
I kind of wanted to see her smile at the camera with like razor sharp teeth as she was about to go or something like that, just to make this even out. But no, it just happens for a little bit, and he starts getting the horny vision with the red stuff, and then he just snaps her neck.
While she's going downtown, by the way, and I got to tell you, buddy,
that's dangerous, right?
This brainwashed murderer, like she's doing that to you, and you break her neck. What if there's like, jaw lock or something?
Yeah,
then you're not playing in the game on Friday.
Yeah, like you can't play in the game if you don't got a dick, bitch. Like, wouldn't you wait after? Like, it just seemed like maybe not the most thought out situation, but I don't have a dick, so like maybe people are just snapping necks while they're getting blowjobs and then calling women sluts more often than I know.
When men get aroused, they often have violent visions and they want to snap necks. Yeah.
You're saying that's a joke, but honestly,
no, it's true. It's sadly true, but I don't know why I'm smiling.
Instead of breaking her neck, why not say thank you? How about that?
Exactly. I love a great thank you after a blowjob. And Angelica, wow, that was great. Thanks, girl. No, actually, don't say thanks, girl to me after a blowjob. I think I'd be a little bothered.
I don't know, saying thank you after something like that, like someone just passed the ketchup.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Oh,
thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right.
That's actually insulting. Do you know how much work goes into a blowjob?
Precisely. A mere thank you doesn't begin to cover.
A lot. Breath control. Speaking of blowjobs, there's a blowjob scene in Blonde, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
There you go.
Graphic blowjob scene. Fuck this movie.
I get the feeling this is going to be coming back a few times.
Yeah. Also Nick Stahl. We got ourselves a creeper peeper here. He's in the bushes
with his dog.
With the dog. Yeah, he's like smoking pot.
What's he doing to that dog?
Yeah, what is he? But also, what happened to the dog? I was so mad. We had great dog acting, little red bandana. It's like, hey, Nick Stahl, hey, here's somebody making out in a car. You want to watch that, right? Because you ain't got shit to do. You want to just jerk off? Okay, hey, thanks, Nick Stahl. Like that's what the dog was doing, right? Like,
so it's like a hunting dog, but Nick Stahl walks through the forest with this thing in the middle of the night. This dog sniffs out people making out, so then Nick Stahl can jerk off to it.
It's Pacific Northwest Son of Sam is what we're talking about.
That's true.
The dog should have got the microchip eye implant by the end.
But it can only be. Boy. I mean, it must be something like that. Somebody must have that kind of vision because, like, you can't, like, you're seeing the top of the car from where Nick Stahl and the thing is. He couldn't see them making out. He's like peeping on them, like the cops like coming to get them, I guess.
Well, you know what though, Chris? It's just the knowledge that that's what's
the
going
idea.
on. In that
Yeah.
you
It's
know,
just eroticism.
right. Yeah, he's using his imagination from there.
Or maybe
It's
he's
the
like
waterfall.
really into cars, you know?
Yeah.
Sure. It's
Some
Oh, that
people-
could be. It's like a
Yeah.
Titan thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I got it.
I understand that. I really
Yeah.
get that as a woman.
And the cops come and they're like, "Oh, hey, Randy, you ready for the big game on Saturday? Oh, dead girl in your car, huh, buddy?"
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Oh, another dead girl. Is it Andy? Okay.
But that's the
And-
weirdest part. Is like that would be the way the scene should go. But then he
Yes.
murders another cop, and the cop is still like, Andy, boys will be boys. And I'm like, that's not how even the worst cop is like, yo, dude, you killed another cop.
Well-
now I'm gonna murder you or
Well,
whatever.
this is the problem because we never get a full understanding of just like the reach of Bruce Greenwood in this movie. Like, spoiler alert, Bruce Greenwood plays
And his
like
mustache.
and that fucking
Yes.
incredible
So
mustache. He plays like a scientist that is doing like brain implant stuff, behavioral issue things, but he has like a grasp on this town that is never explained. Like, he's just at the school and he's presented as like the school counselor basically.
It's weird.
But he's got this whole operation and the whole town's under his thumb,
Yeah.
and we don't know why by
There
the end of the 83 minutes.
There should be more backstory there. Like his family was like, maybe the school's named after his family or something. He's like a long time person.
son of the
area.
town. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
it's I think one of the things that kneecaps this movie is which is probably because of the chop job, as Andrew mentioned, is just like the world building is shit and doesn't like fully track. So it's like really hard to understand, like, okay, so how big of a town is this? How small of a town is this? Because it seems like there's just a one high school, but then I don't know, it's kind of hard to understand, like,
right.
I don't think I think the parents are very specifically shown as not knowing. Yeah, like they don't know what's going on, and like that. The truth is like they just pick and choose what they want him to be in total control over. Like Steve Railsback, the main cop from Life Force fame, of course,
and Nuki, of course, as well.
and Nuki, yes, he's this guy, and like he covers like 3 almost murders or violent murder, like. 3 violent
the
incidents.
freakouts.
Yeah. And he has to paper them all over, and Bruce Greenwood and him never talk. Like they don't even have a scene together.
You need more like parlor scenes, something to set this shit up.
And like, does it cost money for this procedure? Is that what Bruce Greenwood is getting, or is it about controlling the town? Like,
and where are they getting the khakis?
That's
Suddenly,
a great question.
You get the procedure done. Suddenly, you're wearing the khakis and the loafers,
Hair
and you're
gel.
dressing preppy. Yeah,
lots of hair gel.
That makes me
Well,
think
that stuff's
the
probably all
parents-
part of it.
It's
Right.
like an
It's like-
orientation package they get.
right.
Yeah, like you come out from, the anesthetic, they put you under to do this thing maybe, right? And then like you come out of it and there's a little bag for you next to the bedside and it's your new cult uniform.
Exactly. It's like the Ned Flanders re-education thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what this movie is too. I think part of it is they put too much stock in this being a movie set on like a tiny island. I feel like they're making the setting do a lot of that work that we're saying the movie actually doesn't do. Because it's like, okay, if it's a small island thing, then it's like a midnight mass. A lot of people are going to be on it very easily. It's a small town because it's an island, so they're susceptible to this kind of stuff. But again, we don't know anything about anything. We don't know if it's the only school on the island and whatever. Presumably it is, but yeah.
And you don't. It's not about the town. Like none of it is about the town. It's about the kids. And like, yeah, you get like the one scene with them sneaking into the meeting, but like the meeting isn't treated as like sinister or anything like that, which you might want to do if that is what you're trying to put across here.
Right.
All the control they have, but like, there's none of that. None of it at all.
Because it's like you're trying to do the Stepford Wives, but then to your point, Chris, yes, you need to establish the community and like even like, or even establish the high school better than this. Like there's that one scene where it's great. So James Marsden and he has a sister, Katharine Isabelle, of Ginger Snaps and Freddie. Woo.
American
fame.
Mary, all those horror films.
Oh,
she
yeah.
Oh, right. I
goes
forgot
through.
she's American Mary. Yeah.
But she
Yeah,
does
she's
nothing
dope.
in this movie, right?
Absolutely nothing.
She
She's a
doesn't
little
do
sister.
anything. I was like, Miss Ginger Snaps. I thought they were gonna bring Miss Ginger Snaps like back in with the little blonde we'll talk about later. It's just at the home, like, which I was like, y'all okay. Like, what the fuck is this movie? This movie's so frustrating to me because I actually think someone should remake it because there's something here that I kind of find really weird and freaky.
I think there is a way to do this story, do basically like a teenager high school Stepford Wives thing.
Yep.
And do it right. And I think part of it that they were getting towards with that director's cut that's not here is also like, shit, man, make it fucking violent. Like there was a lot of that was cut out of the movie. And, one of the things was, I guess, like MGM, he was trying to do a headier kind of paranoid thriller thing. And the studio was like, no, just make Scream. We want Scream.
Mm-hmm.
But then like they excised all the violence and they excised like, presumably scares. There's no real like jump scares.
No,
or
there's
anything.
no jump scares. There's nothing scary about the movie at all. It's barely moody.
It could be a scary movie though.
It could. It really could. You have that albino bitch.
UV? My guy UV. I love
Yeah,
that.
let's get back to getting into the plot. We're like all over the place. I'm sorry.
But UV, finally some representation for me.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, Eric must really feel seen with this very strange white boy.
They took a brunette actor and put whiter face on him, and it offended me.
I gotta
Powder
say,
face.
UV is quite annoying, and it's got nothing to do with the albino. It's like that super fake Spicoli stoner voice that he's doing. Like you always talk about subtitles. Like, what was that, UV? What are we talking about today?
We're on the West Coast. We're near Seattle.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like, well, I really want to unpack this scene later, so I won't get into it. But like one of the things with UV, Jesus motherfucking Christ, you gotta be fucking. Whoever wrote this screenplay was like really like, oh yeah, I'm really doing it here.
Oh yeah, totally.
What?
Between that, like the nickname, and then we are definitely using a lot of slang that I feel no one was using in the late 90s. Speaking of Spicoli, but like there's some shit. I forget what the exact line, but like Katie Holmes says something at one point.
Razor. He's saying razor a lot.
Oh my God.
Oh, was it Razor?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if that's what I was thinking of. But
That's
a bad
Razor. Oh my Lord.
so
That
Razor.
party last
you know
night
what?
was Razor.
You know what that made me think of though? You're gonna hate me, Eric.
What?
When
You
bitches
said
be
Razor a
saying
lot?
when bitches be saying wizard in Star Wars, I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
bitch, what?
Well, that's my opinion on it too. Why say wizard? Yeah, it's kind of
I
stupid,
mean,
but whatever.
it's kind of stupid, but at least they pull it off better every time. This broad's, first of all, she's terrible in this role. She is so improperly cast, in my opinion.
I gotta tell you, man, I think she's one of the worst to ever do it. I think that she
Really?
is
I think she's a
literally like
really
one of the
terrible-
worst to ever start talking after somebody says action. I really believe that. Yeah, man.
I mean, I don't know if I've like seen her in enough to have a real opinion. I mean, I've never seen an episode of Dawson's Creek.
Don't.
I've seen a lot of
Either.
Dawson's Creek.
You are
Yep.
so fine. Do not.
I think maybe I saw like half of Pieces of April one time. I don't know what the hell else she been in.
That's plenty. That's plenty of pieces of
Batman.
April.
The
Oh
Boy
yeah,
too.
right, Batman. Yeah, but that's not. I mean,
I
sure,
know.
I guess
Your eyes
She's
are on
actually-
Batman when that's on. Yeah.
Yeah, your
She's
eyes
kind
are
of-
on Batman.
she's kind of terrible in that
Batman.
movie. Actually,
She's
now that I
kind
think
of
about it.
terrible in everything. Chris
No,
Gavin
she's
better-
a really bad. She's a really bad actor, and like if you just looked at her as as a human being only through the lens of like her work and whatever star image she has, you would think this bitch has no motherfucking personality.
Yes.
So whenever they kept making those jokes about toast, who knew toast came in 3 different flavors and toast with the most and all this corny ass shit that these bitches are saying, I was like, that's the toast. She's the toast.
Yeah.
No butter, no jam,
Yeah.
no nothing. She
No.
is so. And then I was like, her character is very much Rachel, correct? That's her
Yeah,
character's
that's
name?
Rachel.
Rachel is very much the kind of character that was meant to appeal to young girls like me who are the gothy weirdos
Yep.
who were like, fuck authority. I don't give a shit. I have a hard life. And it's like, yes, some of us did have hard lives, but we also were children. So it kind of shuts the fuck up. But she's just like, there's no, it just seems like such a Party City costume she put on.
Yes.
Like 2 seconds before. It does not feel like a real person.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct about the Party City thing because she's definitely cosplaying as like that kind of a girl because the movie stops dressing her like that for the last half of it, and the only thing that remains is that like nose ring that she has. And then all of a sudden it's like she took the wardrobe from the Dawson's Creek set and put that on and then tore a hole in the jeans at one. And then it's like, well, wait a second. Like she's introduced wearing like all black. There's all this wild, cheap jewelry all over. That goes away completely. They completely lost this character.
Because she finds a love interest in James Marsden and now she can be...
I think that's more what you're supposed to relate to, not so much like her being a character. Throw that out the window. It's in the 90s now. We're not doing that.
No,
but you can relate to her as someone who's attracted to James Marsden.
Oh,
that
you know
is
what?
something
that
is pretty easy too. That is something that's relatable. And the thing with her, I think, is that she was good when she was young, and she got unbelievably worse as she got older. Like,
where was she good?
Ice Storm. I think she's really good in the Ice Storm.
I think,
and I think it's an interesting little role. And like, I'm not going to go to bat for her or anything, but I will say after that, it's been a disaster. Batman Begins being like the worst of the bunch.
She's so bad in that. Oh my God. And it's
one
like
of the worst to ever do it. Just putting it out there.
All right. I'm not even going to try to defend her.
But
I was just looking at her IMDb. You know, there's not a lot here. I mean, I think a lot of these small roles like Wonder Boys and stuff, which anyone could have done. I could have been in that movie.
She's okay in Wonder Boys, but to your point, it's a very low key role.
Yes.
I think to Chris's point, everybody, James Marsden comes to this high school and everyone comes out of the woodwork. Nick Stahl's like, hey man, like he is really friend flirting with this dude a lot,
which is crazy to just immediately give him this weird nickname of Stevie Boy.
Don't do that to me.
I'm gonna do that to you.
The high school politics are funny. Can we maybe we should talk about the lay of the land? Because like every good high school movie, we get we're in the cafeteria and hear the group scene.
Oh God.
And that actually harkens to what I was going to say about UV and his dialogue. After a very verbose Nick Stahl breaks down every group, UV says shit like, freak so chic, freak so this, freak so that. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? If I was in this movie, I would be looking over at this bitch every few seconds like, does he ever shut the fuck up? The most annoying dialogue between him and Nick Stahl, whoever wrote Nick Stahl's dialogue, though, was like, okay, I just watched this great Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
But I'm not Quentin Tarantino.
Oh my
God. I do have alcohol and weed. Let's do this shit. Jerking off and typing.
Yeah, you're right, because I can't even quote it. All the stuff he talks about the nerds and this table likes beer, and then he makes it almost a poem.
It's always a fucking shitty version of the Clueless one where she breaks down that is the actual good one with actual jokes. This one is screenwrite, it just goes so up its own ass so quickly. And to the point where I'm like, is any of this going to matter other than the Blue Ribbon Society? Nope. By the way, no, it doesn't. Nothing but us being introduced to Blue Ribbon Society is all that matters here.
That's all that matters in this scene. But introducing all these tables, here's the nerds, here's the burnouts or whatever, here's the skaters. All those people also, they're they're cosplayers too. The nerds have giant computers and shit.
What
the fuck is happening? Great. Computer chess is going on right now.
It's like, oh, here I am with my book. Oh my God. Oh, my glasses. Whoa. And I'm like, oh my God, this is everyone went to Party City and was like, go get your fucking costume. You're a nerd. You're a jock. You your car.
The gearheads. I mean, the gearhead guys, they cut to that table and, Nick Stahl's like, oh yeah, and over in the corner, those are the gearheads. Those guys work on cars all the time. And they cut to a corner where it may as well be like 6 fucking huge middle-aged dudes smoking and covered in grease. It is just like, what are you?
Yes.
You're in school right now. What are you talking about?
What is the casting for?
Did I miss the greaser fad in the late 90s? I
Maybe.
don't remember the greasers coming back.
No, this was written in the 1970s, I think. It was just
Yeah,
updated.
like when was this written?
We did have
this?
like car people in our school, but
yeah, of course
they were not dressed in fucking overalls and
I was just
covered
about
with
to say, like,
oil all over their
Dickies and
face.
overalls and fucking grease smeared on their, like literally smeared on their faces. And then there was the skaters, and then 2 black people, maybe 1 black person, 1 brown person. But there's definitely 1 black person in the little
the good
blue
clique,
ribbon.
blue ribbons.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Blue
it's
ribbon
a very.
hose.
It's
he
a
used to be
very
Nick Stahl's buddy, and then now he isn't anymore.
Oh, poor Nick Stahl. He was
sad.
losing all his friends, and he was like, "Oh, this is a conspiracy. Y'all can't hate me. This is a conspiracy. Some shit is going on." It's like, no,
I'm going to
please
be
stop.
friends with UV now. I'm going to be friends with this guy, okay? We're just going to talk about Metallica.
Y'all left me, and now I got to be with UV, the fucking whitest hype man since Paul Bearer. Thanks a lot.
I do. Yeah, it is the thing where he shows like all these used to be my friends. So he's like trying to replenish stock, and he's like, "Hey, hot kid, you want to go? Can I sit at your table? This is UV. He's gross."
Yeah,
That
yeah,
picture-
he's gross, disgusting.
That picture is, I think, the funniest part of the movie because Nick Stahl's like, see all those guys that are in the blue ribbons? They also used to be my friends. Look. And he shows him this picture. And it is like 4 idiots trying to get into a 311 concert. I mean, it is like, you are looking at that picture and it is so like 90s crust dirtbags. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Major dirtbag energy we're getting from Nick Stahl, who plays Gavin, who, quote, him and UV like their metal heavy and their Marlboros light.
Yeah.
Oh, pretty cool.
Suck my black dick. Who wrote this? It's so terrible. I was really like, oh my God, I liked this as a child.
Yeah.
This is why, sometimes I look back on my taste as a kid and I was like, whoa, Angelica, little Angelica, you had some good taste, girl. Look at you. And then other times I rewatch Disturbing Behavior and I'm like, what the fuck were you doing with your life when your brain was just forming? Like, I was very young when this movie came out. I also, what this movie reminds me of in terms of energy and like certain like town dynamics, like, and I think it may have came out this year too, The Faculty.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
It is the same year
Around
as
this
this.
time,
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Almost
I
the
was
same
like,
movie.
yeah, it's really similar, except one has aliens and one is
Microchips.
yeah, microchip mind control.
Bruce Greenwood.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And a mustache, making you watch a PowerPoint presentation at one point with like buzzwords, I guess. I don't know what that was.
Pretty scary. I'll be
he's
honest. That
terrifying.
is pretty scary.
As
But,
Dr. Edgood Caldecott. Caldecott. Really
Let's
rolls
take-
off the tongue.
Let's take 2 on that name. It could be Dr. something else. Anything other than Caldecott.
Was this the first draft? Like, I
Yeah.
really am curious how the script was.
Well, it's a stupid thing because there's another character that has another name, and both of them are also the names of writing awards.
Oh, right. Newberry.
Newberry,
yeah, the other
We're
one.
having
What?
fun, I guess.
Oh
It's
my
like-
God. Do you think? Oh God.
Yeah,
Wait a minute. I'm starting to think like I'm imagining the cork vision board above the writer's desk, and then maybe there's this award and that award, and the Pacific Northwest.
Meet
And
Leslie Pulitzer.
each award, it's just there's a question mark. Like, will the screenplay win this one? Which awards can screenplays win that aren't Oscars?
Yeah. Katie Holmes plays Rachel Man Booker Prize.
The janitor, Frank Pulitzer.
And we'll get into janitor
Oh,
Williams.
Oof, yeah.
There's a lot of slurs flying around.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
lots of nastiness in this movie.
One
The spirit
thing-
of this movie is nasty.
One thing
It
this
is
movie did not
nasty.
need. I mean, like, you have you're moving to the new town, and like, oh, this family has a dark secret. The dark secret is that Ethan Embry is trying to break into the film. He's like literally.
He's like, hey, guys.
He's like trying the door. Like it like. Oh,
There's-
Ethan Embry's almost in here. Oh shit! Lock.
Hey guys, I got locked out of the movie. You let me into the movie, I got locked out.
Just cut these out of the movie. What
Yes,
even
no,
is
because
this?
they
It
don't
looks
even
like
do anything with it.
it looks like
really.
he's a ghost trying to break through the TV screen or something
It
with
does.
this weird effect they do on it.
That's part of the chop job.
Sure.
Is there was way more flashback shit with Ethan Embry, and yeah, like at that point, just remove it because nothing about it, comes to play in the movie other than the time James Marsden goes to like the soda shop or whatever, or the yogurt shop.
Yeah,
and
the yogurt
Roscoe's
shop.
yogurt shop.
okay, and the
Yeah.
guy like calls him brother, and he's like, "Hey, you're not my brother."
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "All right."
Yeah,
I guess.
it's they don't really do anything with that, but like, so yeah, we get a lay of the land with UV. I'm sorry, I can't even say it. Gavin and Rachel, who just side note, the way Rachel is introduced, it's like bomb chicka womp. I wrote down LOL at films making us think the most boring ass looking white girl is a goddess. And I know that's a bitch ass thing to say, but I was really like,
It's true.
Katie Holmes.
I think she's very attractive in this movie, and they want you to know it. They really want you to know it.
Her
Like the
little-
camera's just
always-
hanging out on her ass.
Yeah, her
Mm.
ass is very much a focal point, much like Marilyn Monroe's in the upcoming film Blonde. Seriously. What? Count the ass shots, y'all. You think I'm joking?
I know it's coming.
And then like lots of midriff bearing, which was
Yes.
very in at the time
Oh,
for young
absolutely.
ladies.
Oh yeah,
Um,
good deal.
It's coming back too, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everything
I've seen
old
it out
is
there.
new again.
Yeah.
Seen it out there.
I don't know. I got eyes.
You're
We
out
get
there.
like
Eric's
we
out
get like
there.
Not in that sense.
No,
Stevie
you're out.
boy.
You're out there.
yes
Yeah. I'm outside, Stevie boy. Sometimes
outside taking it out outside.
No,
It's always good.
no,
It's always good.
moment.
No, it's always good, Eric. It's fine.
Anyway, back to
No.
the film.
Yes, there's
one of the-
a sketch of of the school. Like you get to see Dickie, one of the greaser guys,
Mhm.
bust into James Marsden's English class and
Mhm.
call somebody
Yes.
a peckerhead. Which okay, that is greaserhead lingo. That's like back
Yeah.
from like God knows when. Like that's back
Yeah.
when like Elvis was charting the hits. Like he was really
he's,
going.
He's about
back
to
then.
rip up his draft card for Korea.
Why did you do that?
He has a face like that though. You know
Yeah,
what?
he does.
Yes,
Yeah,
he does.
actually-
Well, one of the musicians in Back to the Future in 1955 calls somebody Peckerwood.
Mhm, that's true.
One of
Yeah.
Biff's guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have a little fight, and like this is only to pay off like that night. And this is the thing that I'm very unclear about.
Mhm.
One of the many things I'm very unclear about. Is it a thing where your parents need to sign a permission slip to turn you into a zombie?
Mhm.
Or are these kids roaming the halls and making people zombies all themselves? Also, Bruce Greenwood
parents-
tries to like come on to James Marsden as well. And he's like, why don't you join the Blue Ribbons? And it's like, can you join it, or do your parents need to pay for it? Like, what's happening?
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
According to the movie,
Sure.
it's both, all, and none simultaneously.
Yeah, because
Yes.
like later in the film, Gavin's parents was at this
Yes.
dark PTA meeting or whatever,
Right.
and they want to sign him up. So the movie doesn't know what it wants to do. Is the real problem?
No.
It
It's
should be a
dealer's
parents
choice.
only thing. You know what I mean? Like your parents, because that's Stepford Wives you, right? Like 'cause that's the
Yeah,
point of the movie is like your parents want to make you into something you're not. That's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
an emotional through line that you
And
can
we can
actually follow
all,
like a movie.
all relate to that.
Sure.
All of
Every-
us.
Yeah.
There's 5 people on this podcast, 5 people disappointed in their parents. It's great.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not a disappointment to my parents. My parents are a disappointment to me.
There you go.
Okay.
There
That's
you
a nice
go.
flip.
Love you, Mom. Hope you're listening.
But I mean, like that is at least, and then like you make, because at the end of the movie, we'll talk about the end of the movie, which is wild. No parents are punished, only the kids. And
No.
the kids are fucking.
Nobody's
forced.
punished. What the fuck? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Well, again, we all know here that studios are run by idiots.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
They're run by people who don't care about movies. They don't know how movies
Look
should
at Warner
function.
Brothers. They're
Yeah. Right?
I mean,
Mhm.
Well, I'll tell you this. All that parent stuff that we're saying is missing and needed for the movie was also shit that was excised by MGM.
Oh yeah,
They had more stuff with the parents, and it was shit where it was like the parents absent of the kids, like the parents talking about the situation and the process and whatever, and they like some cigar chomping motherfucker was just like, no kid wants to see parents talking. There's no kids in the scene. So every scene with adults that doesn't have kids in it was cut from the movie.
I need Nick Stahl, and I need him on a VHS tape. Okay, that's what the Jamie boy. What's his name? Jamie Kennedy from the Scream Pictures. He was on a VHS. You gotta be on a VHS.
His last will and testament or whatever. But just to get through some of this, the principal's office. We need to talk about the principal's office because it's a monumental movie connection to another movie we've done. Stevie boy, take it away.
It is Egg Lawyer has been replaced by Egg Principal.
Yes.
It's the same actor, the very same actor. He is big as life in this movie, loving him in it. Let me pull him up.
From Double Jeopardy, the film Double Jeopardy, and our episode on it, where I think Chris Cabin might have coined the egg lawyer term for this fellow because the man looks like an egg.
Jay Baratsu. Also, now I'm guessing like this is the only scene in the movie. Bruce Greenwood is in both films. Are these like? Is he like a running buddy of Bruce Greenwood? Maybe.
Well, maybe a sitting buddy, but yeah,
that seems more like maybe a bookstore buddy. That might be a thing right there.
Yeah, but
maybe he's his
park. Yeah, park buddy.
Or like his dentist.
Yeah,
there you go.
I always have to keep my dentist on set.
He does
throw him some roles here and there,
He does some good regional theater. He's actually pretty good, He was in Macbeth last year. He was nice.
I mean, I can't take my eyes off of him whenever he's on screen.
Of course, he's shaped like an egg.
When they were casting Star Trek V, and they were like, "Who are we going to get to play Cybok?" And then they were like, "Hey." I think it was either Nimoy or Shatner was like, how about this dude Lawrence Luckinbill? I saw him do community theater one time and he was awesome. And that's how that dude got cast as Cybok.
Awesome.
So maybe Egg Lawyer / Egg Principal was in, I don't know, some fucking production of Our Town or something. And Bruce Greenwood happened to be there.
He found himself in a Cybok situation. That's it.
Yeah.
It would be great, like at the end of the movie, the principal is like, I don't think so, Steven. You're not leaving. And he's like, you're going to get scrambled, motherfucker. And he punches him in the head.
Yeah, that would have been a better last badass line than the quote unquote badass line we do get. Yeah. We'll get there.
Oh yeah.
One thing about the suicide, because Ethan Embry is the older brother who commits suicide. Katharine Isabelle brings a friend over home, and they're having dinner, and the dad. He's like, Katharine Isabelle's like, my brother Alan was always the best speller or something like that. And he's like. She's like, what's your name? And he's like, my name's Steven. So who is Alan? He's like, Alan's our brother who died. And the father's like, let's change the subject. And the girl is like, oh, my grandmother died. And he's like, let's change the subject.
I'm sorry. But if I was either Miss Ginger Snaps or maybe James Marsden's character should have done this. But if you're like, hey, my brother killed himself.
Yeah.
And then you say to me, oh, my old ass grandmother died.
Yeah, big time. Don't come out with that weak tea
bitch,
shit,
you better
man.
start running, girl. These earrings off. You about to get your ass beat. What the fuck are you talking about? Your grandmother died.
Yeah.
This
girl
was dumb.
Yeah.
This girl was dumb.
Grandmothers are supposed to be dead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just have this image of Angelica running after an 11-year-old now, just like, get the fuck back here. You're such a grandmother.
You dumb bitch.
But then he goes up and he's like, oh, whatever her name's like, hey, Emily, do you get yelled at when you talk about your dead grandmother at home? And he like storms out. They're like, oh, Steven. Oh.
It's so awful because there's no follow-up scene. There's no, like, if that blowout happened on 90210, the very next scene is Jim Walsh knocking on that door, like, hey, Bran, can I talk to you for a second? There's no, like, I miss your brother too. It's hard for me. Like, anything that would make these fucking things on screen feel like people.
Yeah, we have no real sense of, like, who the family, like, really is. Like, what neighborhood in Chicago did they live in? You can't just say Chicago.
First of all, they're probably from the suburbs.
What? You're right. They're probably out in Oak Park or some shit. Oh yeah, Chicago. Wow, Chicago. They never come to Chicago. Fucking liars.
Yeah. Once a year
maybe
for a
it's just-
Cubs game. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just easier, right?
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
just easier to say Chicago.
It's not the Pacific Northwest, which looks, which, you know, it's nice seeing beautiful forests and stuff. I will say the movie doesn't like look like shit. It's just is shit.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, but to your point, Angelica, like this is missing is character. Like just saying Chicago is just to be like, oh, we moved from a big city. We are now in a small town.
Yeah.
That is different now. And like, that's kind of all they're doing. And like that's a lot of this is just like telegraphing you things that would be interesting to get some little tiny sense of, like watching Dickie get beat up by all these kids to be turned into one of the like characters. Cause like what you're talking about the community not being in the movie, like it's because they want to have killer kids. It's because they want to have children of the corn as well. They want to have both things.
Yeah.
They need to kind of play that angle, and they want to have Chug keep
oh
on
my
trying
God.
to
Get
fucking
in the
this
show.
motherfucker.
We're at Chug right now because here we are in the movie. They are doing what kids in the suburbs love to do to hang out when you're in high school and you got no place to go, but you don't want to be home, hanging out at a parking lot.
Sure.
And this is what they're doing. Nick Stahl's trying to get, do the old convince an adult to buy them beer.
So
not
pathetic.
Really, not really going so well. And then like Katie Holmes goes into the store, right? And then
she should have asked for beer, by the way. I mean, she probably would have had a better success rate than
that's what I thought was about to happen because Nick Stahl's like, oh, I struck out again. And then she gets out of the car like, all right. Don't send a fucking dude to do a cute girl's job kind of a thing. But then that all goes to shit because this dude Chug gets horned up in the grocery store and some other stoner bumps into him and this dude starts going ape shit on this guy.
This dude is such a creep. Like mouth breather, like so gross. I am sorry. This dude, his name and his face match in this movie.
Yep.
And that's all I'm saying. Okay.
They absolutely
disgusting.
But he goes ape shit. He goes
it's a Captain Crunch meltdown. Right in front of the Captain Crunch boxes. He has
Those
a fucking
bitches
meltdown.
get thrown in cereal boxes and then the meat section.
The crunch goes crunch, yeah.
And then
Speaking of X-Men movies, this kid goes flying. There's like he's got like 4 feet of air, and I'm like, well, how is it? This is national news at this point.
That's the thing. How can they cover up? Because it's like, dude ripped this dude's septum piercing out. Throws him all around. Like, do these people have super strength now that they have some mind fuckery happening?
Well, that's what I was just going to
that?
bring up. Great point, because the septum rip, like whatever, you can accomplish that. But this throwing this dude like 7 feet into the fucking meat section, now we're dealing with superpowers. Now that's a big problem that the movie's never going to really address. They are just superhuman for some reason.
And wanting to continue to sign your kids up for this thing when clearly there's been a lot of fucking problems. A cop's been shot dead by one of them, and everyone's just like, get in line for the blue ribbon program. Come on.
There's this one in the scene, we're just talking all over the place, doesn't matter. In the scene with the evil PTA meeting, someone raises their hand. It's a woman. She's like, my son, ever since he came back from the blue ribbon, I hate to say it, he's been very unkind. And like Bruce Greenwood's like, oh, sure, no problem. That's an adjustment phase. Like, no, you come back and this kid's a psychopath, like fucking a cat to death or whatever these people are doing.
There was a mention of the Andy jock apparently bit the head off of a kitten in a fit of rage.
Yeah, that's sort of briefly mentioned, and nobody asks a single follow-up question about
I thought
that.
the twist was not mind control, but that they were all aliens from Melmac.
Of course.
Is that the name of the Alf planet?
Melmac.
Melmac. Oh, this is the moon of Melmac. That's what I was talking about.
Oh, got it.
I saved
Fuck
it.
Alf. Don't leave kitties alone. Kitties deserve to live. I did not like that part. I'm very anti-cat hate in movies.
Well, thank God they cut the scene.
Yeah.
But then also, if they actually had that scene, I would give this an extra star if somebody.
For
Some
some edge, a little edge there.
Have some stones. My God, this fucking movie.
It's just so tepid, right? It just feels like very tepid. This movie.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just like like someone like didn't turn the faucet all the way off or on. It's like there's a movie it's like dripping out. I don't know. What can I do with this?
Well, because they were so fucking stupid. Like they were so concerned with like kids, wanting to see the movie, but they edited out all the things that they could have kept in to make it interesting and left all the stuff in that got them the R rating. Because let's face it, this movie is only rated R because of profanity in the screenplay. Yes. There's nothing else whatsoever that would give it an R rating.
Aren't there tits though?
There are some titties.
There's a brief nipple thing there, which you could get away with.
Yeah, I would say that's a tit and a half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a full tit. I think.
Yeah. You know what? It's a tit and a half. We got to give it an R rating. We got it's like in football when they're trying to see if it was a first down and they get the chains out, measuring it like, oh, nope, that's a tit and a half. That's an R rating.
Yep.
I mean, you joke, but they had those guys at the MPAA at the time.
Oh, for
They were
sure.
definitely those guys in the thing.
Let me measure her nipples. How much of her nipples you see?
You cut that out. You extend some of the plot stuff that the parents and the exposition that was apparently there, right? And just you have a PG-13 that might have not been a disaster at the box office.
Yeah, it's just this shit sucks.
I mean, so we do get a thing. This dude Dickie is like, he's going down to the docks and he's like, "Hey, I'm here for the car parts. Somebody called me and said to show up in the dead of night in this location for car parts." And all the like blue ribbon dudes kind of surround him and like beat the shit out of him, and that's the last you see of that scene. And it's a little mysterious, I guess, is the idea.
And it's all done in black just to like it's supposed to be eerie, but like I would rather have seen what happens to Dickie. Or I mean, like also like you could have also, I mean, there's a lot of ways to lure him there. Like, hey, I heard there was a Roy Orbison concert here. I'm dressed for it. I polished my shoes up. I got my coiffer going.
We haven't touched on it.
Heard that there was some summer loving over here. I had me a blast last time.
We didn't completely touch on it, but there's like 15 scenes in this movie where people are like, the blue ribbons. Yeah, more like the blue robots. They keep repeating this.
Yes,
I know it's like we're stupid kids watching this, but come on.
No, it's a
Even
lot.
I, as a true stupid kid watching it, was like, that's probably a little too repetitive, my dude.
So Dickie turns into a blue ribbon, and then the next day they know that something's off because him and the rest of the blue ribbons are destroying his classic car. And I feel like his dad's got to be like, "Yo, Dickie, I could have got you money for that." Like, I kind of like the car. You know what I mean?
It's a beautiful car. I love that shade of red.
Sure. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why are we destroying his car exactly?
Because if the whole, you're right. Because if the whole thing is like, this implant from Bruce Greenwood gets all these kids to fall in line and yada, yada. Well, I don't know. There's something a little, delinquent about putting a baseball bat to a car windshield.
Well, guarantee there's a deleted scene where like his father was like, "And stop fucking around with that car all the time." You know what? Like there must be something to make this happen.
Oh, well, that's probably, you're probably right, Eric, but I would much prefer like in the middle of this scene, like a bright red Wings Hauser screaming, "What are you doing? What are you doing to your car?" Just
that would be beautiful.
Ripping it up because I need some fucking jolt because I'm already bored in this movie. And they
it's pretty boring.
You're totally right though, Chris, because what's so dumb about that scene, this is happening, we should say, on school property.
Yes.
And there's nary a fucking school administrator coming up being like, "Hey, could you 6 kids with baseball bats each stop beating up that car?"
Yeah, like
what is going on?
You're having your kids do this procedure so that they're good, and now they're like killing people and smashing property. So I'm confused by it all.
Well, it's weirder than that because it seems from what the banner says, this is a yearly thing. This is like for charity or something.
What, smashing the car?
Yeah, did you pay $2 to smash up the car?
Wow.
Is that what it is? Because I thought that was just the bake sale that was going
No,
on.
I had no idea.
It says the car wreck. It says the car wreck on the banner.
That is fucking stupid.
Nevertheless, it's like the movie has to take a pause, and we do that Street Fighter pause where it's like, beat this car up for a little bit. We'll get back to the movie afterwards.
Yeah, get E Honda in there just like fucking shredding the thing with his fist.
Punch them crates, dude. You got to punch them crates.
Yeah.
Can I ask a serious question? Because
Yes.
pretty much right where we are.
Yes, Stevie boy.
What accent is William Sadler trying to do?
Oh.
What are we trying to do here?
Dumb / genius.
Every
like
answer
German,
is
though.
incorrect.
Yes.
Whatever your answer is, it's not. It's like the blender. Like it's like asking the first AI to make up an accent. Like it just completely off the map.
Also, the way he interacts with rats, that can't be good for his health. How is he still alive? How does he
he's
not
got
have
the
some
plague
disease?
by now.
Right? Like, I was like, he's just pulling rats out of his little bag. And I was like, bitch, you know it's stank up in there.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Hell
nasty
yeah.
as hell. And what
He's
is
getting
his
some rat blood
motivation?
in the mouth too. A little rat blood in the mouth, I
Oh.
think, when he's doing that for
But
sure.
what is this character? What the fuck is this character? He's a janitor, pretends to be stupid so he can like learn the secrets. He could be a conspiracy theorist and on to the trail of this. We need to flesh this out more than we do.
Yeah.
You find out that he's a genius because he's reading Slaughterhouse-Five, and I love Kurt Vonnegut, and I love Slaughterhouse-Five.
Ooh, a whole 300
full-
pages. This guy's a genius.
Exactly, that's a ninth grade reading, folks. Like I again love the book, but like they find out that he's reading it, like, hold on, oh my god.
Well, because he's
You can read?
here's the thing though, is I don't think he's just pretending to be quote unquote stupid. Like he's pretending to be mentally disabled.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I feel that's why it's like, oh, you have this book so it's like the reading level doesn't matter, Steve, because he's pretending to be like a George from Of Mice and Men or whatever.
Which is sort of like, I need more of him doing that. It seems it's more of the kids just calling him the R word. And
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's just, I mean, that's how I read it. Maybe that's
no,
not
I think you're
case, but-
right. I just think the movie just fundamentally fails on every level.
You know what, Eric? I think he probably had an idea of what he wanted to do with this whole scenario, this whole get up he's doing at some point. But at this point, as we see, it is just a suicide mission, and he's seeing how many people he can bring down with him.
And the
I
answer's
would
quite
love
a
to
lot.
explore.
Yeah,
Like, give me
yes.
that
You know what? I get
crackpot
it.
bunker shit. Give
Absolutely.
it to me.
Anything, a jolt. Like I said, any jolt would be great.
He needs to be, here's what it is. I think I just figured it out. He needs to be the guy who's like, Bruce Greenwood fucking killed my son.
Thank you.
The operation went south
Yeah.
or something. And I've been undercover pretending to be this janitor, and I'm going to fucking take him down.
That's the disturbing behavior, by the way. Him
Yes.
pretending to be
a
this
janitor.
dumb
Because he's
janitor.
like living this Kaiser Soze-esque life where he's like walking differently whenever someone
nothing.
see him. For no one.
For no one. For nothing.
It makes no sense at all. I mean, nothing in this movie makes sense.
Well, we set up that he's got this sonic rat catcher machine.
Yeah.
That's the
He
only
sure
reason
does.
we're doing it.
God, that's dumb.
But it's the weapon. And the thing is that because you have William Sadler, this is the reason he's in it so much, is because it's William Sadler. So you don't just try to shove all of this information in real quickly. You have this first long scene where you think he's an idiot, and then like you have a longer scene later when a chug tries to fucking like rape Katie Holmes. I don't know what
Yes.
the fuck is about.
That is
Go on
exactly
and
yeah,
what is
that's
happening.
exactly. Well,
And then
yeah.
you get you find out what the rat thing can do, and then that's what that scene's all about when they trigger it. So I think they milked a lot of this for Sadler juice, and I really think that's a smart idea for anybody.
Sadler.
And every time you have a Sadler, milk it completely. I'm into
Oh,
milking.
so
Don't say,
let's-
don't say milk. Don't ever put milk in a man's name.
Yeah. Now I'm just imagining.
Let me fix it for you. James Marsden milk.
Yeah.
I think
gorge,
the milk
right?
is still.
He's got man milk.
Still didn't work.
No.
Man milk. You know, next time I'm doing something, I'm gonna be thinking of man milk. You know? You're ruining my.
Ooh, I
Sex
can't have
life.
any dairy. Do you have any man milk? I mean coconut milk. Fuck.
Wait, do the Hobbit. Do the Hobbit vomit.
We don't have any oat milk. We do have William Sadler milk though. Is that pre Bill and Ted or after? It's after. Okay, it's
Is that the same company that makes William Sadler juice? Is it the same?
I will say The rapping Reaper is less embarrassing than this character.
Oh.
For sure.
But he's been in some stinkers too. My God. I worked on a movie with him. I actually got to see him in person acting, and he was good, but the material was fucking dog shit. So
happens.
He gets the hammer in this movie. It's and William Sadler, and I'm like, that's got to be Bruce Greenwood. I'm sorry, folks.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Big time. That's actually pretty surprising. Yeah.
I would maybe say that if Greenwood gets like a big scene, I don't even like the end, I guess, but like even that is kind of limp. Like none of it is really a big scene.
There must have been these scenes with Bruce Greenwood and these parents, but that chomping exec was like, no, get to the scene where Katie Holmes says, what's that? Razor. The kids are going to love it.
We got to get to the Harvey Danger. Don't you understand? We got to, because I will say that is the one that where you really notice it's a chop, because like they pick the weirdest moment in the entire movie to hit Harvey Danger flagpole sitta. It's like a runaway scene in the middle of and they're just like cut to it. It's like the cut happens with the drop. It's
fucking terrible.
Unbelievable.
We will get to that. Yeah.
But so like whatever.
This is like we're at like the parents' meeting here, the Blue Ribbon Advisory Council. They're calling it, and it is fucked up because the line that Greenwood has here, Steve, when that woman is like, "My son's kind of an asshole now," he's like, "Well, ma'am, it's just a few weeks of an adjustment period. I mean, look at it this way: if you were an eagle flying high in the sky, you'd be looking down at all the pigeons below you." It's like, Jesus. You're really selling these
I
parents.
hate to be if we're talking about complaints. Yeah, my son was watching Temptation Island and then choked my grandfather to death. And he didn't do that before the surgery, right?
Wow.
So
usually they choke their chicken to death after watching Temptation Island. That's interesting. I'm going to write this down.
My son was, we were as a family, I didn't know what the movie's about. We were watching Funny Games, and my son was laughing hysterically the whole movie, just absolutely riotously. And we thought that might be a problem. We thought that might be an issue.
because the joke is not the joke, but like the twist is like, oh, teenage hormones, LOL, all that stuff. But I mean, like, these are the worst people to be violently horny. Like these are the horniest people on earth, teenagers. You know what I mean?
You're turning them into the white ribbon here, you know?
Exactly. Nice one.
Funny Games made me think of it.
That brings up a question, like, are we supposed to look at Bruce Greenwood as a crock of shit? Like he's actually not good as a scientist, whatever. Because it's like, bitch, we'll get to it, but obviously his daughter, so you're starting off wrong foot already. Okay.
Sure.
And then
he needs a few graduating classes just to warm up, and then he'll be good.
Yeah, because the whole I get a hard on or I get turned on and then I go berserk thing kind of seems counterintuitive to the whole Stepford Children vibe.
Yeah, it's a real back to formula kind of thing.
Like,
and because the one nurse, there's a weird moment where like you see operating table kind of looking down thing, and it's Bruce Greenwood and some other woman who we never like officially meet in the movie, and she's like, what do you know? When they get horny, it fucks up the microchip. And it's like, it seems like that's a thing that you should have noticed in the testing phase before we made an army of these superhuman children.
When you get the first one, you put the first implant in there, you have them tied down, and you try to get them horny to see what will happen.
Yeah, because it's not
the Siska method.
It's not like, every time they see a theatrical movie with Ted Danson, they get crazy and murder people. Because that doesn't happen very often. That would be fine. You'd be like, you know what? We're going to be cool without... We'll ride that out. Getting horny. Every morning this kid's just trashing his
every
room.
morning, every few. Like I mean,
yeah.
Like
all
you're just horny. Like so. I'm like, how does this work?
Yeah. Multiple times a day. These kids would be freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
On the school bus, they're all riding for 5 seconds and start fucking ripping out the seats.
Yeah.
I was stimulated. God damn it.
Is literally every house on this island on fire all the time? Because if not, I don't believe it. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
But you're right, Angelica. Is he good at his job? Because it seems like he is not.
No, he's not. Like, that's the thing, is I kind of think ultimately, and that scene that you were talking about, Andrew, where they're in this surgery, it kind of says something to that, is that he's like, well, I guess I just got to cut her brain open and then we'll figure it out from there. And
Yeah,
then,
you're totally right.
And the end of this, like, spoiler, at the end of this movie suggests that this essentially like becomes an MLM. Like, fucking Nick Stahl is going to like bring this to all the other like schools of America.
What is an
This-
MLM?
Like, he's going to
multi-level
pass it on
marketing.
to people. Like, yeah.
Like a
multi-level
pyramid
marketing.
scheme?
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, so like whatever, and like yet in this scene, Nick Stahl realizes, my parents have turned me in. They want me to be next, and like everyone's like, one of us. And because it was released in 1998 and not 1999, Nick Stahl pulls out a gun and is like, I'm going to start shooting everybody. And I'm like, it's 365 days early, folks.
Yeah, we'll get there. School.
But yeah, so like Nick Stahl they race out of the school and they're in some field or something, and Nick Stahl tells Marsden, he's like, they're gonna do it to me. I'm gonna go home. I know all those blue ribbon sons of bitches are gonna be there, and when they see me, and yeah, he pulls out this gun. He's gonna just fucking totally annihilate his whole family. And Marsden kind of like wrestles with him and takes. It's a really bad scene because he wrestles with him.
Yeah.
He takes the gun away and he's like, "Have a good night, man. Don't go kill your family. Good night." And just like
Yeah.
walks away, and that's the scene.
What happened to the gun? What did he do to the gun? Did he like
Great question.
chuck
yeah.
it?
They
This
should
is a
have it.
gun. You know, you got to kind of be careful
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
a weapon.
They should have it at the nut house later. You know, like it should come
Yeah, just
back
in
in
case.
some way.
Dude, if you had a gun in the setting of that nut house, the way it's
We'll
designed
get
and
to
whatnot,
that.
it's a
What
fucking
the
Resident
fuck?
Evil movie.
It was Resident Evil level.
I'm not
Yes.
being insensitive. That is a grade A nut house. It's just a
No, it
fake
is.
murder factory. I don't know what's going on in that place.
But I will say to this movie's credit and to Nick Stahl's credit, he's good in this scene, like as an intense little kid actor. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he had some chops. I will say I liked Nick Stahl as an actor, even though personal problems be damned and weird head. But you know what I mean? Like he was a weird looking guy and gave weird looking performances.
Yeah.
He knew what
Yeah,
to do with
no,
it. You know what I mean? Like that's
I admire
That's
a
okay.
guy with a weird head that does something with it.
He's fantastic in the first 20 minutes of In the Bedroom.
In the
Right,
bedroom.
yeah.
He's not around for the
Yeah, yeah.
He has a lot to do with what happens afterwards, but he's not in it anymore.
Instrumental, really. Yeah.
Todd Field. Can't wait to see Tar. Is that?
Oh,
how it's
Tar.
called?
Tar,
Yeah,
yeah.
I hear it's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about it. Movies.
But-
They can be fun sometimes.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
the next day. He combed his hair.
What?
And
Dun dun dun.
Wait,
Can I tell
what?
you this exact not the fucking microchip part, but this exact people turning and looking to someone changing their clothes happened in high school. When I was in high school, there were two dudes, Kevin, you're gonna know who I'm talking about. I'm not naming names. There were two dudes, they were like serious, like metalhead guys. And always with like the band t-shirts and the torn jeans and the
Yeah.
long hair and whatnot. And then like one day as a gag, they were like, watch this, watch how fucking funny this is going to be. And they came to school with like haircuts and Old Navy on and all this shit. And the fucking school, like they were walking down the hallway and all these people were looking like, are they coming from a funeral? What happened?
Yeah,
These
and
people were gobsmacked.
They walked in and weirdly "Kiss Me" started playing over the intercom.
Oh my god.
And it
Yeah,
just
shit.
was. It was.
Your life
everybody
is a
was just
movie,
stunned,
dude.
Yeah, life is a movie.
And then like James Marsden then starts he breaks a chair over someone's back, kind of for no reason.
Dude, that is
Yeah.
fucking great because like all the blue ribbons, for whatever reason, like clear out the cafeteria.
Yes.
And like they're all standing guard by the doors or whatever. And I think because James Marsden is just like, they're gonna kick my ass, so fight or flight. And yeah, he just stone cold Steve Austin breaks a chair over this guy's
Yeah.
fucking head. It's awesome.
And
I'm very
you know what,
into that.
UV, you got to get in here because like at
I
a certain point,
know.
like both Rachel, Katie Holmes and UV are like kind of held back. And like, yeah, dude, but your buddy's getting like the shit kicked out of him. You got to jump in.
It's tossed around by one of the jocks. As
he
well.
does, yeah.
The problem with UV, dude, I mean, if he gets hit too hard, he's going to explode into a cloud of talcum powder.
That's what I was going to say. Have you ever seen what happens to cotton candy when you put it in water? That's what's going to happen to UV if you put him in a fight.
Surprised there's no scenes talking about UV's condition or what's going on.
Yeah, I do wonder.
Well, considering the actor is not, he doesn't look like that.
No, not at all.
So like
they dyed his hair and they put white powder on his face.
It's a choice for the character, so it's got to be something. Because what are you doing otherwise?
The only thing that it makes not even sense, but like it makes him somewhat immune to the charms of the Blue Ribbon Society. Because I think like Nick Stahl's like, well, they won't even go after UV. So like that's the idea, because I guess because he's different.
Too different, I guess. Yeah.
Question mark. They beat the ever-loving shit out of him. And then Nick Stahl kicks him a couple times. By the way, goodbye to the movie Nick Stahl, who's been an enormous character.
Yep.
And then like we have this fucking get you next time gadget ending. But that like from now until then, he's out of the movie. It's
crazy.
Like, dude, that guy was a huge character,
He
right?
was almost the protagonist, to be honest. I mean, we opened with him watching this whole go down, and then James Marsden shows up, which I understand the camera's like, wait, hello, let's go to this guy.
I mean, I do think, though, what the thing with that was, I think this is a cut thing, too, because the way that he talks to Marsden, it almost makes it seem like he's faking it.
That's what I was just about to say. I thought for a second he was faking, pretending he got this shit done.
Yeah.
And he was on the inside or some shit. And I was like, oh no, that's absolutely not.
That would be
the
interesting.
same exact thing, and that would be interesting. It would just happen to be interesting.
Yeah.
But he's out. He's
that
gone. And yeah, we do get the very unfortunate, very ill-placed Chug wants to rape Katie Holmes. And it's, Chug, go to some other movie. We got other shit going on here.
Shocked
it's
how
like,
far
what the
it
fuck?
gets.
Yes.
He's manhandling her boobs.
Yeah.
There's definitely a photographed squeeze right there, which I could not believe was happening.
I mean, there's your R rating. There's groping happening.
Just wait a couple years. The rules of attraction's going to come out eventually. You can do whatever you want in that.
But yes, in this movie, where we've got enough going on, but then William Sadler breaks it up with the supersonic thing, and they're like, say. But Nick Stahl left her a CD, and it's like, if you ever cut yourself in a horror trilogy, this is what happens, or whatever fucking nonsense.
Which is fucking 2 years before Scream 3 did it, by the way.
So
just put that out there.
But all this really tells us in that CD, correct me if I'm wrong, he's just like, hey guys, mind control. Something like that. Anyway, if I'm gone, whatever.
It is incredibly unhelpful once the video finishes. Yeah.
And
you're totally right. I thought the same thing.
Like, I found a real clue. Fucking do something, movie.
Detective work, I think you want, Eric.
Yes,
like
I do.
Like that,
I want Batman to be in this movie.
He does say something, this whatever institute, and they're like, it's just over the bay. Let's go. And
oh, sure.
Yeah, this is a really unfortunate situation.
Yeah, it's full blown only in the movies nut house. Like,
thank you.
As someone who has been in mental hospitals more than once, they're terrible, but they're not doing Resident Evil level, super gross. Looks like the paint is peeling. I almost thought it was like a deserted hospital for a second.
Yep.
So you would think.
Because like everyone's just to their own devices. Some guy's like bleeding in the bathroom, and I'm like, is anyone gonna check on him?
Well, just like how the rest of the surrounding movie doesn't have like the presence of parents of any kind. This fucking hospital has really no presence of doctors, nurses, security. There's kind of a shot of security, but they are fucking cold on the trail.
Yeah, they are very cold.
And then they appear, right? We don't really get them getting into this place. They're just suddenly in it, walking around.
They walk in.
There needs to be more. There needs to be more to this.
They don't know what they're looking for.
It doesn't make sense. I keep saying.
And they find Caldecott, Bruce Greenwood's daughter, who is Joss Whedon crazy, which is a very specific kind of crazy,
Yes,
which
of course.
is you say one thing elliptical over and over again.
Yes, and it's like I am poetic and brunette and kind of skinny. Oh my God, Joss Whedon would have loved me.
Exactly. I'm so crazy. I say the same thing over and over. Oh my goodness.
Meet the musical little creatures who hide amongst the flowers or something.
Joss Whedon crazy, man.
Meet the musical little creatures who hide among the flowers. Meet the musical little creatures who hide among the flowers.
Eric, but she's a very important character because she's about to get punched. You understand?
She gets not
and
clean out.
Because
like
that's the funny thing about this too.
Knocks this girl in the teeth,
Because
man. It is really something.
All the mentally impaired people are zombies who are like attracted to the noise of this and is going to give them up. Because all these people are running at her because she's singing. The one person's singing.
They smell meat. They smell meat, Eric, don't you know?
Much like in a zombie
offensive.
movie, man. You don't want to make too much noise. What with possibly attracting the other zombies in the movie.
But they punch her out and they look at her armband like, Caldecott, it's his daughter. You want to leave the mental institution? Yeah, let's get out of here. Dude,
let's leave. To paranoia.
Yep.
It's even worse, Chris, because you're right, and I love that Harvey Danger song. It's the Peep Show theme song, one of my favorite shows. Period.
It's a fun song, I gotta say.
It's a fun song, but they even cut into the song itself because it's like that song has peaks and valleys, and they play like three valleys, 3 peaks in a row, like, and
Much
it's
like
like choppy.
part. Yeah,
Much like the film itself, the song is chopped to shit.
MGM was like, this song needs to be cut up.
It's like the when Homer's watching Blue Oyster Cult and is like, get to the work and overtime part.
Bachman Turner, excuse me.
Bachman Turner
Stephen.
Overdrive.
Apologies.
Yes. Please, Stephen.
At one point, I think it happens before, but who cares? It is a ridiculous scene, so I do want to talk about it. James Marsden walks home. And it's like the middle of the night. The parents are fucking gone again, and this babe
Lorna
is just in the house. Lorna, who we've met previously, Nick Stahl had a crush on her.
Nick Stahl,
she's one of the blue ribbon ladies.
She walks by Nick Stahl. Nick Stahl met fucking James Marsden 5 seconds ago. He's like, "That's Lorna Robinson, the focus of all of my masturbatory fantasies." And I'm like, dude, I just met you. I don't need to know who you're jerking off to.
Totally. If I don't know where you live, your favorite movie, or how many siblings you have, I cannot then know what you jerk off to. I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I need more information about a person.
I don't want to know that from anybody. I don't want to know that from my friends. Like, I don't care how much I know. Don't tell me that.
But so yeah, she's at his house in a sexy schoolgirl uniform. This is very 1998. It's giving me Varsity Blues
Big time.
vibes.
Yeah.
Thought she was gonna go get some whipped cream there for a moment.
Something for the dads.
Oh yeah.
Teen girls are. Listen, guys, I'm just saying, teen girls are sexy. They wear little schoolgirl uniforms and they're sexy. That's what this movie is telling. Angelica has her jaw on the floor, and I'm okay with that.
Why you call me out like that?
The parents have to take the kids to the R-rated movie to see this, and the dads, there's like, oh, finally a little bit of piece of movie for me.
I mean, maybe I shouldn't have my jaw on the floor because this woman looks like she's 32.
Yeah.
She got held back. She got held back a few years, and that's why they had to blue ribbon her so she could finally graduate.
I see. Got it.
We wouldn't normally say that she's a candidate. However, we need to get her out of this high school. But she starts like getting all fucking horned up because she's watching James Marsden sexily drink a Coca-Cola, which I thought was pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
And she starts having, this is a full-on Stepford Wives malfunction.
Yes.
Where she's just like, wrong, bad. And she starts like smashing her face against a mirror. Like it's a whole thing.
This is when we get the 1.5 tits, by the way, FYI.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait, what's that about breasts there?
Well, you get the 1.5, which we talked
yes,
about a little
you get the
earlier.
1.5.
Because he's like, go home, Lorna, go home. And she's like, all right, but I got to take a wicked piss first. Can I go to the bathroom?
I wish so bad she had said that. You do if she's like, God, I've been holding it in like a camel, and this thing's gonna burst. if you would just let me do this, and then just comes out with their tits out.
Me and your sister just ate like fucking 2 cantaloupes. I really got to piss.
Did anyone read this scene? I thought she was beating herself up here to be like, he tried to rape me kind of thing.
I thought it was going to go in that direction.
It
Also.
was going that
Right?
direction.
That was
too.
the problem, yeah.
I feel like that would actually make sense too, because then the blue ribbon could have something on him, get him into some actual trouble. Maybe the police
Precisely.
could actually do anything in this movie.
It makes sense for the tempo of where it's going and where it's always been, but like also we can't add in. We haven't finished anything else on the plate. We cannot now order a calzone on top of it. Like you can't do it. Like we're still trying to figure out everything else.
The stupid scene ends on a joke instead, though, because she's all like, because of the mirror smashing, she's all banged up and whatnot, and she's barely clothed, what with getting turned on from the Coca-Cola consumption.
Mm-hmm. They had to show them white ass panties she was wearing. I saw that.
Oh yeah, they sure did.
Oh yeah, yep.
Mhm.
And it's just like she goes, "What does she say?" She's like, "Oh, I have to go home now. I have a physics test tomorrow."
Yes.
And it's like, "Oh, all right." I mean, I said that it was a joke. I don't even know if it's a joke. I think it's just a thing they had a human being say, and then she walked out a door.
And
The
that's
scene
it.
needed to end. The scene needed to end, so they were like, "Okay, that was an ending. We can go on." Railsback, you want to go to the gas station next, buddy, or what?
Oh man, yeah.
They the one thing Bruce Greenwood does say when he's she goes to the hospital. That's the whole scene we talked about. But he does say, like, man, every time one of these kids gets a hard on, they try to beat somebody to death with it. I'm like, yeah, dude, maybe stop implanting these chips. But yeah, so they go to the gas station, and there's a town has a curfew, which is very ill-defined as well. So he's like,
And it's news to the movie until this fucking scene. We never mentioned this fucking town curfew.
And
And then Steve Railsback pulls up and looks at the camera, and he's like, "What are you doing here? Don't you know the town has a curfew?" And I go, "No, Steve Railsback, because the movie didn't fucking tell me that."
Just
No,
why?
and then the gas station attendant's also like, "Oh yeah, I am also under some weird contract with somebody who is bigger than me. I will also close down my business now. I don't want to explain any of this, but goodbye, movie." And then fucking, of course, God damn it, what's his name? Sadler
Sanderson.
shows.
Or Sadler, rather, yeah.
Sadler comes back with the dead rats and saves them. He
Oh,
beats
my God.
Railsback to death.
He smashes him in the back of the head with, I guess, one of his rat devices. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
tells them to get out of there.
Because Railsback at this moment, like any fucking police officer in the United States of America, is putting 2 people in the back of a car without telling them why or having any real reason. He's just doing it to throw around his authority. And then, our rat boy janitor's had enough of that. He says, "I don't know, fascist," and hits him over the head. That was my impression of his accent that he's doing there.
It's a little something like this, and it's like
it's so bad and all over the place.
It's sewer, I think, is the accent.
Yeah, it needs like a couple of just dollops of Renfield in there.
Yes.
Like just Igor, even like these little
Ooh,
tiny
yeah.
little signs there. But incredible work.
Oh, you know what I was just realizing that could have been interesting as well. I mean, we've had a few angles on this character of what we could have done, but he could have been like a failed experiment with the daughter, and he's like, well, he's good enough to mop around, but he's doing it in secret to get his revenge.
He's lying in wait. We go to James Marsden goes home because he wants to get his sister and like confront his parents. And like there's a pamphlet there or something, and this is like kind of an I don't want your life scene as well. Speaking of Varsity Blues,
Yes.
Oh yeah,
because it's like what about what I want, mom and dad, and never again. Or we talk about Ethan Embry or any of that stuff. That's just not in this scene.
No, and it's sort of. Are they also sort of saying here that they want to do the procedure on the sister too?
Yeah,
I believe
two
so.
for
They're
one
teasing
scenario.
it.
Yeah.
They're setting it up.
But Marsden definitely fucking clocks Bruce Greenwood right in the teeth here, which is pretty funny. He punches him right out, and they escape the house or whatever. But that's when you realize, like, Bruce Greenwood, of course, like, he hasn't had this treatment. Like, you could just beat the shit out of this old guy. Come on,
Sure.
And then we get they get outside, and the children of the corn are up. Like all of them are all like failings out around the house, and like there's no like no, but like did the parents not look outside and be like, well, that's weird?
Yes, exactly.
Boy, I didn't. Do you kids need a drink or anything? A lemonade or what? What's going on?
The sister started stripping here, got them
Pardon
all
me?
horny.
I see.
And then then the
Okay,
horny
Eric.
army can maybe descend upon their creator, right?
Yeah. If you got that information from Greenwood in a previous scene, that would be knockout.
But you're right. The parents are just like, so, is it a gang that he's joining or what's going on here, Bruce? What kind of deal are you giving me here, Bruce Greenwood?
Hey, Bruce Greenwood, I'm looking outside the study window and I'm seeing a gaggle of kids fucking curb stomping my boy.
He is getting dog walked, bitch. Damn. I was like,
all part of the procedure, man. Don't worry about it.
It's fine. No, that's
My
instead
poor
of anesthesia,
boy.
they beat your kid.
Yeah,
with,
well, we
with
got
an
to
inch of his life.
tenderize his face before we, insert something into his eye socket.
It's
Listen,
educational.
you said you wanted an A student. This is how you get an A student. Okay, I know he's got a B minus.
what is like the long-term
Thank
goals
you.
with this though?
Great
That's
question.
a big problem because it's like, okay, so they're good at not really anything. I guess being students and
Yeah.
doing blood drives and cookie sales and whatever the
Yeah.
fuck else. But then, like, how's that going to translate into adulthood? Are they going to get into politics or, like,
Yes.
Well,
that
that's-
sort of shit?
Sadler does have some line to that point, Angelica, where he says something like, oh, yeah, like if these kids get off the island, and then he trails off. And I was like, then what? What
Yeah,
will
he's-
happen if they get off the island?
He says, quote, we can't have these shitbirds graduating and going off into the world.
That's
Yeah.
what, yeah.
But like,
What-
because
Okay, why?
I mean, obviously they have the violence problem. That's not good. But what else? Like,
Yes,
Yeah.
They're not vampires.
I need to know,
it would
like-
be nice if they were.
There needs to be a scene where someone goes into Bruce Greenwood's office, or maybe it's an Egg Principal's office, and there's just a big binder that just says, the real plan.
Yes.
Someone fucking just thumbs through that really quickly, and we know whatever Bruce Greenwood's final deal is.
That would be great.
That'd
It's
be very
crazy.
nice.
I would even go for James Marsden voiceover at this point.
Mhm.
Help
Yep.
me out.
Oh yeah,
Um,
from the past that'd be great. But they knock him out, and they knock. They've gotten Katie Holmes somewhere else, and
Yeah.
they are now in the other nut house that is
Yes.
like not clean. Very specifically, fucking the corners are like running with grime.
So they take them back to the off-island.
It's
No,
a
no,
different.
they
It's
were
a
at?
different.
It's
nut
just a
house, I
facility,
think.
whatever this
Yeah.
facility.
It's a
Oh.
second grime laboratory that he has.
Yes, you don't want a clean laboratory at all. Number
No,
one.
no,
That's the one thing you don't
no.
want.
Definitely not.
And
It actually
the
helps the experiments. More dirt helps
Mhm.
experiments.
The procedure is something hot. The chip goes in hot into your eyeball, and while we get Clockwork Orangey stuff going on. With
Oh, do we ever have clockwork shit, man? Somebody had a case here. Like, what are you doing?
I think that was
God.
just like the whole '90s, because the '90s loved this little
Oh,
thing
yeah.
of
You know-
the strapping someone down and showing them stuff.
Yeah, I saw so much clockwork during this movie because I was looking at my watch. So I was like, when is this movie ending? Huh? I know it's only like 84 minutes, but man, does it feel longer.
And he cuts. He grabbed a scalpel on the way in. He cuts his bandages, and then some random scientist is like, "Oh, can I help you?" And he just stabs him in the chest. And I'm like, "So we're murdering scientists?"
This is a Total Recall escape he's pulling here.
It
Yes.
really is. Because what he stabs him with is the part of the armrest
Yeah.
that's like still tied to his arm. He pulls
Oh.
it out of the chair, and so there's like a pole sticking out of it, and that's what he jams into that scientist.
Which I think is what literally happens in Total Recall.
might be.
I'm trying to. I rewatched it recently. I can't remember, but it is a Total Recall-esque chair escape.
He saves Katie Holmes, and Chug is still in the movie. Everybody, Angelica's favorite character, Chug.
Yeah.
It was
Piece
great when they
of
made that
shit.
Terminator reference here, because like when Chug comes on the screen, they put some of the score in, but it was just like chug, 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 chug.
I would like that. But I mean, Angelica, you must like this scene though. I mean, he gets walloped and blood comes busting out of his
You
brain.
know,
It's pretty good.
It's funny that scene is very much framed as like, yeah, that's right, Katie Holmes. You get that dude. And it's like, yeah, you get that piece of shit. Because what the fuck is this dude? Like, I feel like it just like, whatever this surgery did, it just made him worse. Whatever was latent, it just like came to the surface.
Something tells me Chug's parents were kind of putting some money in Bruce Greenwood's pocket there, because it doesn't seem like Chug would have been a good candidate for this.
I also, if I'm getting surgery on my poor boy Chug here, I'm like, yo, can we stop calling him Chug now? Like, that's half of the reason I'm getting the surgery. I named him Chauncey for a reason. Okay,
Chauncey. Well, that was your first mistake, Mrs. Chug.
Don't call me Mrs. Chug.
That's my daughter-in-law. I'm Mama Chug.
But so he's dead, and then you're like, at least last night I was like, oh, so we're killing these kids, and are we killing these kids, folks?
Are we ever? Woo!
Oh, and why? I guess why not?
Yes, I mean, so they bust out of the second lab, the second crime lab, and they are going down the road, and there's a big like line of the Blue Ribbon Squad with Greenwood at the head, like the Professor X of these shitty X-Men, and who are all the same. It's like literally an X-Men where they're all the fucking same. And they're about to be overtaken before William Sadler shows up, right?
Yeah, because they're in the truck with what's his face there, UV.
Yes.
Yes.
And the sister's now part of it.
And now,
Lindsay is there.
Speaking of clockwork, we got a ticking clock now because we got to get to the ferry before it leaves to the mainland.
That's true.
Yeah. And they're about to get caught, and what's his face? William Sadler comes in, really clips Bruce Greenwood with this car. It's a good one.
This was like some fucking Dom Toretto shit, dude, because he jerks that wheel and like the back part of the car just like shoots out and just clips him. So perfectly done.
It's lovely.
Bruce Greenwood does not have a hip anymore. Whatever. I mean, he might survive that hip, but he is not walking right for a long time.
But as he's driving into him, Greenwood gets a couple shots off. And this is the scene where like, the other kids are about. He's like, you guys. Marsden's like, you guys go without me. I got to check on the janitor. And now it becomes a motorcycle movie out of nowhere. Like James Marsden gets on this motorcycle and is doing like tricks.
Yeah,
dude, it's insane. There hasn't been a motorcycle in this entire movie. You cannot introduce a mystery motorcycle in the last 5 to 7 minutes of your movie. You can't do it.
No,
that would be funny if that was the thing him and Ethan Embry did together.
Maybe
fights together, man.
And that could have been something, dude. Right? Like there was a flashback scene where he's teaching him how to do like motocross jumps or something.
That would be nice and silly.
But instead, he is just without ever once mentioning a motorcycle in this movie before.
Right?
This character is riding this thing like he's in the fucking X Games.
The brother,
it's ridiculous.
The brother should have died in a motorcycle accident as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that could have also been something. Yeah. Literally anything.
But he catches up to Sadler rather, and he's like, "We gotta go. Can't we save these kids?" And he's like, "No, we can't." And I'm like, "Who are any of you to make this decision?"
Good enough for me, janitor. Let's kill all these janitor. Kids.
And he's like, and you can't save me neither, because he's been shot in the chest. He's like, if I'm going to die, I'm going to take out like 25 kids with me.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Yep.
And it's so funny when they go over eventually that scene.
Right.
Oh, man.
He's got his rat car now. It's got like the sound machine all over the rat car. And he's doing a Pied Piper thing. He's getting all these rats together to follow him.
Well, and like the last subscriber to Rand Paul's newsletter, he screams out, "Hey, teacher, leave those kids alone!" and fucking rockets himself.
You know, that'd be great if like maybe Bruce Greenwood was a teacher or an administrator at all.
He's dying. Last words, classic rock. That's the move.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Of course.
But it is hilarious.
I want to hold your hand.
But that shot, that little cartoon of all the kids like on his car, like because they're jumping on the hood and shit because they're so beckoned by the music, and he just drives off this cliff. It's a fun shot. This ending is kind of fun, I gotta say.
It is.
Bumped up a
It's
star.
fucking hilarious.
Very funny.
And you know what it reminded me of with them all like maniacally crawling on it like that? It reminded me of how they make the zombies look in World War Z.
Mm.
Because it's just like
Oh,
a tidal wave of human bodies jump
Yep.
on this car. And oh man, all of them plummeting. Fucking mwah. Chef's kiss.
And now Bruce Greenwood's like, I'm still in the movie. And I'm like, now would be a great time for a parlor scene. But no, it's just a
Absolutely.
fight.
Yes.
Just
yes.
say
Tell me,
something.
what's your master plan? What is the end game? Why did you start this? What is going on?
Yep. Any of that. Like, this is the time to do it. Because also, Bruce Greenwood, you just got hilariously clipped by that car.
Mhm.
Your fucking pelvis is dust. You might need a breather here, man. Why don't you
Oh,
take
yeah.
a few, sit on a log, tell us about everything that you were doing.
And instead of that, I think he's got I think he says like science is God at some point, because I think we were kind of leaning into that, like, science and technology. That was a boogeyman in the 90s.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
It's still a boogeyman for a lot of people these
That's
days.
true. That's true. A lot of yeah.
We haven't talked enough about the mustache. It's really beautiful.
Oh, my
It's a
God.
really good looking.
It's
Yeah,
so-
really well coiffed. Well,
Yeah, and he's lean. He's looking great. He sort of looks like a little like Pierce Bras ain't a little bit.
yes. Well, because that was his. Excellent.
No, wait, hang on. I got it.
Oh, here it is.
It's not Pierce Brosnan. He's Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
But that was Bruce Greenwood's career in the 90s. He was like everybody else passed. Here's Bruce Greenwood. But then he kind of got a little gruffer as he got older, and then he became gruff guy Bruce Greenwood, who we love, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
of course.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he's great. Gruff guy character actor. And yes, Angelica, what is the line he says, James Marsden says before he kicks him off the thing for no reason?
Be the ball.
Yeah,
Thank you.
there it is.
What?
Yeah.
No one played any sports in this
Be
movie
the
at all.
ball.
Deleted scene of him and his brother watching Caddyshack a lot.
Yeah, I was really confused by the ball thing. I was like, is there some scene I blacked out?
There is another blink and you miss it use of Be the Ball. I think from Bruce Greenwood. It's in maybe the scene at the house when he gets punched in the stomach by Marsden.
Sure.
It's something where it's like, I'm going to teach you to, be good at school, be a good son, it's in there somewhere. So it's a thing that Greenwood says somewhere in the movie, and he's using it as like a, hey, fuck you.
Sure.
And kicks him in the face.
But it's really whack.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
No,
not,
I'm
it's
not
not badass at all.
Dog
I'm not
shit.
supporting it. I'm just trying to lay out
You're giving
what they may have been
context,
thinking they were doing,
Yes. The
successfully.
callback. The Wonder
And
Which
Woman.
they're not successful. Also, the editing right here in this fucking fight,
It's so bad.
it's insane because there's one part where like there's a little bit of the two of them tussle, and then it cuts to Marsden like on the ground, and he goes to get up, and Bruce Greenwood like grabs his leg from over the cliff, and I was like, when did Bruce Greenwood fall off the cliff?
Yeah,
They
I was
don't
so
show that.
confused. I was so confused. I had to play it back again. I was like, wait, did
Yeah.
I look down?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
Did the test
the
audience
fuck?
not like the fight? Gotta keep it moving.
This fight's too
It's-
coherent.
Really wild to hear about the production of a movie where there was so much like, oh my God, well, 2 people in the 300 that were in that auditorium had a problem with whatever, let's
Yeah.
go change. Let's spend thousands of dollars to change it because fucking 2 idiots had a problem with something.
Yeah. But the fall
Just
is pretty
whatever.
cool. It
The
looked
fall
good.
is pretty good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
He goes
And-
right over.
I like a
It's
good
awesome.
fall.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
yeah. Man.
And a good scream with the fall is
Ooh.
important.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whatever they
always want that.
use, I can't tell what's going on here with the body because I think it's a dummy because the limbs in that shot are dangling in a really
Yes.
weird
Right.
way when he goes
Yeah.
over. Like he almost folds like you're trying to fit a corpse into a fucking tiny case or something. It's
Well, I
really
guess
weird.
he knows he's gonna be one, so he's just trying to get all together.
Let me fold
for it.
myself up now so they can put my body in a little steamer trunk.
And we're doing motocross stunts
Yeah.
here, guys. It's cool. Rad.
One more Mission Impossible scene to get to
Dude.
with the ferry to
ferry.
get off the island.
And let me tell you something. Somebody speeds up to a ferry port like this, goes over like a ramp and crashes their motorcycle onto this ferry. Guess what? that boat's backing up.
Exactly.
That boat's backing up.
Now-
You're getting fucking kicked off and probably arrested.
Now,
Yep.
I'm sorry. This happens all the time, Freddie. Don't worry. Yeah, no, it's the island. They just like, when people want to go, they want to go, buddy. What can I tell you? Yeah, we've had like one of these every week with a motorcycle.
And Katie Holmes goes up to him. She's like, well, what do we do now? And he's like,
Ugh.
we go home.
Ugh.
And she's like, well, where's home? Wherever we want it to be. We're all teenage runaways and with no money, and it's gonna work out great for us.
You know what? You know what? Everybody's so negative. You know what? I hope in 15 years, these 4 kids, they're running a very nice polycule out in Portland, Oregon.
Sure.
They're having the time. They're working at a nice coffee shop / bookstore. Maybe they run it. Who knows? Maybe they do the books.
Ooh, that's good.
But that is literally to be like the best case scenario. Otherwise, they're just going insane and like or being killed by Bruce
dead in a
Greenwood's
ditch, dude.
Bruce Greenwood's funders. Whoever's funding Bruce Greenwood, clearly he does not have this money. But
Because it's so uneven. Like, you need an uncle. It's like, no, we could go with my Uncle Robbie in Chicago.
Yep.
You know, he calls early. He's like, if you ever need anything, you can come by and live here with as many albino kids as you want, or whatever he wants to say. You know, like something.
Sure, you can come and live with me. You, your little girlfriend, your weird pale friend. Yeah, you can all come.
so wait, so I assume your parents are dead. They're not dead. So you're just leaving your parents.
What is happening there?
What the fuck is that?
What's even also not to be rude, but also Katie Holmes's parents weren't even in on it.
No, what is that?
Well, you know what? Her family life, those people don't mean anything because the movie is very pointedly like, look at this fucking trailer trash.
Yeah, it's like when your own friend is like introducing you to James Marsden as quote unquote trash. It's like, damn, bitch, the fuck?
Yep. Yeah, it's supremely fucked up. And the movie's like, yeah, well, her home life is meaningless because she lives in a trailer.
So she could just leave.
No,
and it's just...
And so, like, they're getting married, I guess?
I don't know.
And it's like, don't do that. That's a terrible idea.
Awful. The absolute worst.
I feel like we didn't exaggerate anything. Like, there's so much missing from this movie.
Yeah.
If you folks watched it, you probably know.
If you want a stinger scene ending, it's something that ties some of these loose ends. Not like because Nick Stahl tested well and you put him in this, and I mean like this dangerous minds horse shit
Which
we're
is
doing
like,
with the school.
We got a
thank
kid
you.
that is
No, thank you.
It's so racist, right? It's
yes,
so
it
racist.
is.
There's been like 3 black people in the movie, and they've just been around, and they've had 3 lines between them. That's fine. And then all of a sudden, it's an urban high school.
It's a bad school. Just look around.
That's what they're treating this
in the
as.
classroom.
Well, that's what it is because all of a sudden it cuts to a classroom where you just hear fucking rap music coming from a diegetically placed boombox in the room, and every fucking student is a person of color. And then it's like the principal walks in, black guy there, and I'm like, oh, okay, movie, you're really horribly laying it on here.
Because now I guess we're going to use this program to make them better, if you know what I mean, right? Like,
Which is like,
yes,
yes.
And Nick Stahl being like, what, a 17-year-old teacher now? What is going on with this?
That's the weird thing where this fucking, like the teacher, the principal, whatever this guy is, comes in and he's like, all right, everybody, there's a new student teacher today, and you're not going to give this guy any more shit. You're going to have respect for your new student teacher. And I was like, what?
They would fucking fold this kid like a slice of pizza, man. Like, no way. I don't know, horny strength or no, nothing is going. This plant is dying on the vine.
It's just fucked. It's so fucked.
Maybe
I'm sorry.
That should be the stinger, is they all beat the fuck out of him.
That'd be great. That'd be fantastic. You want me to be part of a blue ribbon? What?
His fucking Terminator eye goes off at the end of the movie. They should have cut to some kid like, hey, I think that guy's like a robot or something. Let's get him.
Yeah. It's like,
Sir, what happened to your eye? What the fuck was
what
that?
was it, like class of 1999 or something in here?
Yeah.
It's so, and like, it's not even a sequel setup. It's just like, ooh, it continues.
It's not a sequel setup. Yeah, it is in the vein, and this is an excellent movie, and this movie is not, but it's kind of doing like Donald Sutherland's an alien at the end of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that kind of like, uh-oh, because they're also, boy, it's dumb. they are doing the camera's following him walk into the classroom, but you don't see his face. And I'm like, oh man.
They say the stupidest thing. I bet this is like, it's an unforced error. They literally just throw it in there. They're like, some kid looks at him. He's like, what's he doing here? And I'm like, they know who he is. What the fuck is What is going on at all?
That kid was a huge in the bedroom head, okay?
He
saw it last week.
Shit, is that Nick's?
Holy shit, someone tell Hollywood I found Nick Stahl. He's posing as a student teacher. I found him.
Did any of you guys watch all the way to the end credits?
Oh no, did I miss something?
Oh no,
just
there's you have the Josh Whedon girl, just the voice going, meet the musical creatures, like just repeating that.
Just a little spooky
still.
thing for the end of the not spooky movie.
Exactly.
It's very weird. Like the score turns to like music box kind of eerie shit too. Really pathetic. Really awful.
Rough
There's
stuff.
a tinkly Exorcist Omen vibe to a lot of the score, like the all over it, and nothing good.
The other thing, by the way, to put a fucking bullet in this movie's head,
Please do.
when like Nick Stahl fucking turns around, and it freeze frames. It freeze frames on the reveal.
Got you where I want you. And the flies start playing.
Yes,
again.
the eerie song, which is not eerie at all, which is the flies got you where I want you.
Yeah.
Yep. Like, all right. That's not cool. It's not things you use freeze frames for: a moment of comedy, a moment of celebration to end on some sort of funny blackout line. None of those things are here. It just literally stops. Like the movie just stops.
It's
and
tired.
I am thankful for that.
It's tired. It was like, okay, we're done, right?
The movie needs to sit down for a while.
Oh my God. But yeah, that is the end of this movie, blissfully. Recommendations and final thoughts. Angelica, we'll start with you as our guest this week.
I'm so sorry I did this to y'all.
I'm sorry for what I did.
I'm going to suggest something though. After saying, don't watch this, y'all. There's certain artifacts of artifacts of the 90s. That's actually, why did I say that? But there's certain, pop culture, cultural dynamics and fashion and whatever the 90s that comes in and out of style again. But this is something that will never be in style because there's nothing to this. This is like a not movie. It's like a fake movie almost. It doesn't even feel real sometimes. And I wasn't even high when I watched it.
That's how you know it's really fucked up. Yeah.
So I have a peace offering. I'm gonna suggest, doesn't have to be this spooktacular or next spooktacular or even in the spooktacular, but if you guys do an episode on The Craft and I'm not on it, I am gonna consider that a slight.
Yes.
As you should.
Yeah. No, that's a
Absolutely.
great call. We'll definitely have to do that sometime.
Yeah.
I rewatched it last year, actually. Good movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I haven't
Not
done
bad.
a rewatch in a couple years.
Yeah, it's
But,
a fun one.
I really, that's one of those where I was like, oh, little Angelica.
I figured
You
this
were
out.
right. You were, girl, look at you. You were so right. But this, again, was one where it's like, oh no, little Angelica, why were you watching this so much? I think I've seen this movie maybe 5 or 6 times.
Wow.
This is my first time somehow.
Yeah,
And I don't even know why. I'm like, was it really just James Marsden?
James Marsden.
I think it
it's a good
was.
reason. Look,
I
it's a
think
good
it
reason.
was.
The man is good looking.
You know what? I make fun of dudes when they're reviewing movies and I'm like, you don't like this fucking movie. You don't like this fucking performance. You want to fuck this person and I'm not an idiot.
Sure.
But see, I can
Is that
be
the blonde
honest.
reviews that you've been reading?
But I mean, honestly, anyway, but I can be honest. Sometimes you just want to watch a hot person walk across the screen,
Yeah.
even if they're wearing ugly ass fucking late 90s clothing. Like, woo, woo, woo. Ooh, not a good look. So don't watch this. Live your lives in a better, more holistic fashion, y'all. Like, we only get one life, you know.
That's very true. Chris Cabin.
It's a good message, Angelica. And I will also say, live your life. Do not watch this movie. You do not have to watch this movie. It is just like, as it seems, an attempt to cash in on Scream. It's essentially Body Snatchers / Stepford Wives version of Scream. And it's terrible. Even beautiful James Marsden, even that can't really save it to me. I will say, if you're going to watch it with subtitles, because there are little tiny things that I found really funny, such as when the blue ribbon guys come to hang out, they're playing a song on the radio that's just literally a guy saying do do da do 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 da 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 do do da da, and the subtitles actually just put do do da do do da all over my screen. So that was nice. That was entertaining. Cool. The movie itself is not.
Eric Siska.
Oh, yeah. No, this movie is trash, despite James Marsden being a hot, juicy piece of ass. You do like seeing him walk across the screen. But but I mean, I think, Angelica, you said it well, that it just doesn't feel like a movie. It's like, it feels like you're watching a movie and you keep leaving the room and coming back, but you haven't.
Yeah. That is so perfect. Yes.
Yeah. So it's not a recommend for me.
Steve.
Yeah, similarly, I'm not gonna beat that analogy because it's perfect. I am also really forgiving of teen movies in general, specifically teen movies of this era. Mm-hmm. And I was shocked, and I kind of had I didn't like this movie growing up. I probably saw it once or twice. I remember really liking the ending because it's fucking hilarious with William Sadler going. That I can tell you beat for beat. That kept with me. So like I was really surprised and disappointed by how inept and unfinished and bad this movie was. So yes, even being so forgiving of late 90s teen movies, this shit ain't it, Chief. Keep looking someplace else.
Yeah, I too am very forgiving of late 90s teen stuff. And I feel like, and I'm not saying it would be an across the board or audiences would respond well at all. I just think for me personally, if I saw that 118-minute cut, I think that I would feel it's like a serviceable teen shitty thriller. But this, it's not a movie. It doesn't feel like a movie. And I would say if you want two entertaining and current examples of how well James Marsden is held up over the years, him on Dead to Me, I think is truly great. And him in those Sonic movies, he's in the first one more than the second one, because the second one's way more like we're just doing the computer characters. But that first movie, he's fucking funny in it, man. And you get to see him doing some comedy in 2020. I guess 21 when the movie came out. But, totally serviceable. And he's still fucking handsome as hell, I have to say.
Still looking good.
But that is going to do it for our convo here on this shitty-ass motion picture, Disturbing Behavior. Angelica, thanks for suggesting it to us, of course. And, we are always psyched, of course, to have our good friend back on the program. Open invite whenever you want to come back. But hey, plug where folks can find you and whatnot. On the internet, that is. Your work specifically.
Yeah,
not weirdos.
Yeah, not in person, on the internet.
In my home?
What's your address? What's your address right now?
No, all your great writing that you do week in and week out.
I do write. Yeah, so you can basically just find me at Vulture and in the pages of New York Magazine. That's where I have my staff job as a critic, where I mostly write just about film and television. And I don't know, have a grand old time doing it. You can find me on Twitter talking bullshit at Angelica Bastién. And I have a newsletter that is easy to find and very rarely updated. But when I do update it, it's updated with love.
It's good stuff when you update it.
Yeah.
I like reading your newsletter.
Oh, you're sweet. Thank you.
But, for more We Hate Movies content, of course, check out patreon.com/We Hate Movies. We have ourselves a We Love Movies episode on Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers.
It's a good episode, y'all.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
We just put out this week the Melrose drop, so that is out ready to rock and roll for you folks. And Eric, who we talking about on that Gleep Gloss?
No, the excited. I love how I keep plugging this month because no one could care or even know what this is. Weequay. Yes, it's basically the episode is me yelling at Chris Cabin for the 20 minutes or so.
If you could believe it.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
And doing a really special voice that you're all going to really
don't
love.
give it away. Yes, there's I debut a new impression, which is a very good impression.
So excited.
Yes,
man.
I'm glad you are.
Shouldn't be.
You're not going to be. It's going to haunt your nightmares.
Oh God, I'm scared. I'm scared.
But here on the free feed, of course, next Tuesday the show continues. Steve, what are we talking about then?
It's the Spooktacular, ladies and gentlemen.
Hell
This is finally coming up, and we're going to Franchise Town each and every week.
Oh
yeah.
And we are
big one.
Starting with Hellraiser Bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
Bloodlines with an S.
Bloodline, I think.
Is this
Bloodline?
Is this outer space or is this the internet?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
This is outer space.
Okay.
Outer space.
Exciting.
Royal Adam Scott. You're gonna be just. You're gonna be in
What are
heaven.
these Hellraiser? I mean, I'm such a big fan of the first one. The second one I have a soft spot for, and then there's like, then I just don't know what happened. I just don't even know.
Third one's
What
good.
happens after that is they just start taking
I like parts.
scripts that they were receiving and repurposing them to make them Hellraiser movies. So as you watch those sequels go on, including the one we're going to talk about, really, well, no, this one's actually still pretty keyed in, but a lot of it is just like a horror movie's happening, and then fucking Pinhead shows up with his buddies like at the end.
You know, and I love Pinhead. You know, he gives
yeah.
you style. He will give you an entrance. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely.
He's
And I love
quite a showman.
I love a stunt queen. You know what I mean? You know,
Absolutely.
I love
Hell
that
yeah.
energy. Love you, Pinhead.
So until next week when we show our love for Pinhead, I'm Andrew Jupin.
Steven Sadak.
Eric Siska.
Chris Cabin.
Angelica Jade Bastién.
Take it easy.
That was a HeadGum podcast.